All right, welcome to another edition of Wide World of Electronic Sports, episode 145. Thanks for joining us. It is me, Yvonne Doom, Dennis White, and the one and only Rodney Conyers Jr. here to break down all of the big news and exciting moments from this week's past EVO tournament and more. Rodney, how you doing?
I'm doing really good, man. And the first order of business, before we get into anything else, is that it's actually episode 144. I put 145 in the run of show by mistake. Danny, don't
Okay.
be mad at me. It's 144. My bad, y'all. I'm living in the future, and that's my problem, y'all. But yes, welcome to 144. Like Danny said, we're about to have some fun. We got to break down that wonderful little tournament that happens every so many months to years in Las Vegas called EVO. That's right, the biggest fighting game tournament on the planet. And damn, is there so much to talk about? Like, Danny, I don't even really. I mean, I know we're both fighting game enthusiasts at heart. I don't even know really where to jump in. Should we just start with? Should we start with Street Fighter first? You want to start with that?
I am always hyped to talk some Street Fighter for sure.
Let's,
I think that's fair. We'll probably go on to Street Fighter and maybe we'll talk about some multiverses since this was a big, major tourney for multiverses this time around. We have some folks that we may have had on a show recently make some big moments there. So yeah, we've got plenty to talk about for sure.
yeah,
But
no
yeah,
doubt about that.
Street Fighter, of course, is kind of heading towards a new era right now, which has been pretty exciting to see. But there was also some new characters revealed right before the grand finals as well. So yeah, I'm gonna pull up the trailer and everything else for it. We have a newcomer and a veteran character who both were shown off during the Evo showcase, which is always good to see. But what were your initial thoughts or reactions when you first saw the characters pop up on screen?
You know what? It was even like my thoughts were like actually deeper than the characters themselves. I was like, you know what? Is Evo like our Game Awards? I know we talk about the Game Awards and like E3 and stuff a lot. I mean, we're just people in the gaming industry. We're always gonna have to talk about it. But I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like the way Rick has kind of set Evo up now. I mean, everybody always wants to reveal something at Evo or do something big on that big Sunday stage or literally any of the 3 days. Honestly, Evo's just that.
Yeah,
When I seen this go down, even though we've had announcements on Sunday in the past, because Rick had implemented so well the panels, the live discussions, the breakdowns in between games, in between sets, this one felt a little bit more official than what we've seen in years prior. And
yeah.
honestly, I'm here for it. I'm like, you know what? I need game announcements every year on Sunday. Every damn year on Sunday. I don't care if they're new characters, old characters, characters I ain't even here yet. I like this because this lets me know that the FDC is starting to take itself more seriously, and we're starting to give ourselves that little bit of like officialness that like E3 and the Game Awards have.
Yeah, there's definitely a level of like professionalism I feel like that
Mm-hmm.
Rick brings to how he organizes things,
Yep.
and it comes through in every other aspect. You have the official folks behind each game. You have your Haradas and such show up.
Mm-hmm.
You have people doing interviews and panels and everything else, but you also have like just the respect given to each game and each title. It's not like, oh, this game is just going to be shown at 3 a.m. or something like that, or we'll have it in a corner, behind the bathroom. Like
Mm.
Rick gives the kind of respect to each title, regardless of how big it might be mainstream or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It still gets that kind of shine on the Evo stage. It feels like it's the biggest day or biggest weekend for every game on the list.
Wait a minute, Danny. I think we summon the man with the briefcase? Is he?
I
It looks
might
like
be
he's
here, but my video's not working as it always doesn't.
Oh.
it's
Oh
like,
well,
Sorry.
dang. Well, you know
Oh,
what? At least we got the voice of reason. How you feeling, Mr. Man? Okay.
man, I watched a lot of Evo. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to say I enjoyed it immensely. I'm
well,
sorry I
it was a
just
great
jumped in.
year.
You guys are talking about Street Fighter, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just hopped into Street Fighter because obviously there's going to be a ton of news flowing out between now and like Capcom Cup, and of course as we move closer to maybe getting a release date and stuff like that. But I do think that Evo is kind of setting itself up. It's kind of always been a place where you get some big reviews and news and stuff
There he
like that.
is.
But
Yeah, sorry. Apparently, I just have to unplug and plug it back in, and it works. You know, like most tech issues.
yeah, sometimes random programs will hijack a camera too for some reason that I'm not even
Yep.
using. It's really
That's
annoying.
fine.
Even if I close OBS, it's still using my webcam somehow. That kind of creeps me out.
Yeah, that is a little unsettling.
So, uh, what a weekend! Can we
Yes.
just say that? Like, props to Rick and his whole team. Like, they crushed it.
Yeah, especially the
It
first time
was.
around, and we're getting adjusting, getting all this done, all the vendors. Everything you need to make this kind of thing happen. New
I
venue.
wasn't there, but it looked like EVO. Like it felt like EVO. Like the convention floor, like those first 2 days, the artist alley was there. People dragging folding chairs around. Like it was all there. It was EVO.
And there was space. There was plenty of space for people walking around. People had the masks on.
Everyone was masked. Even the commentators were. Like it looked like they crushed it, and it's awesome. As it's my favorite esport event of the year.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to Rod's video.
Wait, am I not here anymore?
It looks.
You're
back.
Okay, yeah.
It looked
Okay.
like,
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm gonna fix this. Just give me a second.
it looked like you had been jammed.
Okay.
But yeah, like you had those stories, Denny, that you love to see at Evos. You had IDOM's crazy run on the loser side of the Street Fighter V bracket, getting so close, yet so far away in that grand final loss.
Yeah. He's been on top before, but that was kind of it was definitely a.
I just mean for that tournament.
Yeah,
that's gotta be.
It's gotta be heartbreaking.
Yeah, because it was like tough. There were some amazing comebacks that he had during that run, where he could have got knocked out several times, but that was a great send off for Street Fighter V.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
I enjoyed watching. You saw some high level tech, the diversity of characters, like everything you want to see from like a final go for a tourney for a game like that. I think Street Fighter definitely has plenty of legs. I feel like people for some reason think that because of it formerly being PlayStation exclusive and formerly having issues at launch and formerly all these other problems. One thing about Capcom is they're willing to commit to a Street Fighter game for at least several years. And we've seen it between the Ultimate and Arcade editions and everything else there, that you can expect that same level of detail and time put into Street Fighter 6 at least. I wouldn't be surprised if they even brought like a
streaming on TikTok, Rod.
Wait a minute, I'm almost back.
He's gonna get it one of these days.
Yeah.
No, I agree, man, and I have to say I haven't been a fan of playing Street Fighter V. I was actually chatting with a colleague on Twitter about it. Like, I don't necessarily like playing the game, but watching high level Street Fighter is still fun. It's still cool, and it's like it's one of those esports where you cannot be paying attention to the meta. You can just jump in and watch, and you'll still get it. It's enough of the characters have kind of transcended time. The commentators I thought did a great job. It kind of had the primetime slot, if we're being honest. I think the last slot at EVO is kind of bad now, because I think you mentioned it, Denny, yesterday. They only had 4 top 8s yesterday, and they still managed to go longer than the last time they were in person. Okay,
I think there's going to be some adjustments, next time around for sure. I did see Rick tweet out that he was trying to fix some things on the fly, like the ad rolls and stuff like that, which I do appreciate. Him actually.
Yeah, he knows it's not perfect, but man, for everything they did, having to come back, kind of rebuild the culture that was put in place there by previous management. I thought Sony's role was not too heavy-handed, but there were like little synergies there. Like they showed all the cameras in the arena were Sony cameras, and like people may not realize this, but Sony Optics, like their camera division, top of the line. Like they make the best smartphone camera sensors. They make a lot of iPhones use Sony sensors.
Well, no, I mean Sony is on point. I mean, I'm using a Sony camera right now.
Yeah,
My
so
bad
like
boy.
they took advantage of those synergies without like making it, oh, Sony presents Evo, Sony presents Evo. Like they weren't in your face about it at all. They kind of let Evo be its own thing still. Um, I loved it. It's just, as someone who loves Evo and loves esports, like this last weekend was freaking awesome. And it was like there was a crazy amount of stuff happening at the same time. Like I don't know how
Yeah.
you guys were watching, but I had like Evo Stream 1 on my TV. I had like Multiversus on one monitor. I was watching the Tekken pools at one point. Oh, and then by the way, the Rocket League Championship Series World Championship started last weekend. So it's just like
Yeah, that's
trying to
not.
watch all these things at once was a challenge. I
Yeah, I
think
bounced
Rod's
around quite a bit.
frozen. We got finger.
Yeah, we
A
got
fro-
we got we got some fingernail there. But yeah, I bounced around quite a bit, and I watched some of Maximilian's stream because he was like basically being a live curator, bouncing
Yeah, he
around
was.
each channel for a little while.
Yeah. Oh, there
And
you are, Rod.
Okay.
it's quiet.
Yeah, so just really quick, I wanted to say some things, and I was just getting destroyed by the internet monsters. But you know, we've obviously covered a lot of Evo here, at Shacknews. But I feel like this was the first year where Evo actually felt like what it was supposed to be, even though we've never seen it like this before. Just with the big three between Combo Breakers, CEO, and Evo, I had always felt like Combo Breakers feels for the people by the people. CEO kind of it's the Jabali show. It's a big fat tournament with wrestling inspired themes, kind of intertwined in there. But if any of the three were supposed to feel like almost like a dream hack or like a PAX and a tournament slammed together, it should have always been evil. But it had always just felt like, I mean, you guys have been before. It's just always felt like a big convention center. You got some vendors over here, and there's a bunch of setups. You can't really do anything besides watch your favorite player play. There's no panels. But Rick really just, he took it above and beyond and really kind of created an all-encompassing environment for people who, if you didn't know what fighting games were, Evo would have been your one-stop shop. Show up, pay the $80, and you will figure it out. Whether it's from a panel, a performance, a discussion, a match, you would get it right away.
Even just as an online spectator, like
Mhm.
there are people I introduced Evo to this weekend. They're like, I don't know what Evo is. I'm like, just go to twitch.tv/Evo, check it out. And that day one stuff, to your point, Rod, like they had a lot of panels and they were actually kind of in depth, and I like that. That did feel more like an E3 kind of setup, or like a PlayStation experience. I don't know if you guys remember that, but it was around for a couple of years. It did feel like that, where it was like an event with like actual schedule, and it wasn't just floating around kind of aimlessly. But at the same time, like the cool part, I love day one and day two of Evo, like being in the pools, hearing pop offs, like just that crowd being back. All of that was really exciting, and I think that to me was like that balance. Like, Evo was back, but at the same time it was different, and I think that balance that Rick and his team did, like they deserve all the flowers for this because they nailed it,
Yeah.
and I'm really excited to see where it goes from here, because this was just his first try.
Yeah,
So-
that's what I'm saying. Like, despite there being some things like, the ad rolls and all that kind of stuff, like, the fact that he's making this a pleasant experience at home to watch and then also in the venue, and people are feeling to get their money's worth.
That stage was awesome.
The
last
stage was
night.
incredible, yeah.
Was crazy. The
Loved
production.
it.
Looking at what Combo Breaker does with their staging, I already knew like going into day three or really any of the days, the production online and in person was going to be absolutely just immense. I mean,
Yeah.
well, you guys were especially like the Evo stage in 2018 with that Smash Fours, man. It was just kind of like a big stage that stood like 5 feet off the ground. Like it wasn't really anything super fancy, but that Sunday stage, that puts a lot of like traditional sports stages like to shame. Like that shit was crazy.
Yeah. No, I've seen it at times where it's almost like at the center of the arena, where this was more, they picked one side to have it at. I like the way that they set it up here because you can sit on the floor, and a ton of people were on the floor there. It was interesting to see, like TJ got some really good footage of crowd pop-offs and reactions to stuff. It was interesting to see. Whenever I attend Evo, and I'm always there for the finals, I would look at the crowds for each event, each game, And it really did seem like the crowd for Street Fighter V and Tekken 7 were like the peak of the day. Because by the time, what time was it by the time Guilty Gear was done? It was like 1 in the morning there.
Yeah, it was pretty late.
Yeah. Oh, there he
wait,
is.
is he here?
I think so. He may have to do
Okay.
the same dance of unplugging and plugging in things that I
We've
had
all
to
been
do.
struggling with our cameras here.
But
I have arrived.
Hey
Hey,
there.
buddy, how are you?
Groggy. Very, very groggy.
Understandable.
yeah, it took a red eye. There we go. Hey, TJ.
I'm sorry, y'all. I crashed when I got home. I forgot to set an alarm.
It's all good, dude.
Hey, we're just glad you're here. We were, obviously we're talking about EVO, and yeah, I mean, as somebody like yourself, I mean, you've had obviously that home experience. This time you had the in-person experience for the first time in 3 years. I mean, what were some of your thoughts about just the overall experience, especially as somebody doing coverage and as somebody playing? Like, you're kind of coming in with two different mindsets.
I was also at EVO in 2018 and 2019, which was the last time they did the in-person events.
Yep.
And like it wasn't a perfect event by any stretch of the imagination, but
Sure.
even having said that, I still enjoyed it as like a better event than I feel it was even in 2019.
Mhm.
I feel like there was some immense changes across the board that were mostly for the better.
I'm resisting making a joke about Smash.
Yeah.
Let it out, Austin. Let's hear it.
It's good Smash wasn't there. No, I'm sorry.
It's funny. In one of the restrooms, somebody left a box of free deodorants. I'm like, you don't need that. There's no Smash players here.
Oh, yeah.
The shots.
Oh, no, I know. I don't want to bury Smashers because they're doing a good job themselves. But no, so you competed in 3 different games, right?
4.
4?
Mortal Kombat, Tekken, King of Fighters, and Guilty Gear.
Okay.
Cool.
And it was your first day was kind of crazy, right? So like your first day, you were doing your games journalist job and your esports competitor job at the same damn time, right? So it was like Mortal Kombat pools in the morning, and then appointments, and then you had Guilty Gear in the evening, right? Or did you have another pool somewhere in there?
Tekken was that evening too. I did Mortal Kombat. Then I ran around taking pictures and video and doing appointments like a madman. Then I came back for Guilty Gear. Then I did Tekken.
Nice. And
Now, even though you said this like wasn't a perfect event, I mean, how do you rank this in comparison to the other 2 evils you were at? Because this one, just Austin was saying, even from like an at-home experience, felt way different than anything they had ever done up until this point. But like, did you feel the same way?
Yes, I did. The floor was set up very, very interestingly, and I think good and bad because they had it set with like the corporate the increased corporate presence there. When you walked into the convention center, you had a bunch of the corporate booths right in front of you, like PlayStation, Guilty or Arc System Works, Capcom. All that stuff was like right in front of you. Then you walk across. Then you walk past all that, and they put Artist Alley, the entire block of Artist Alley, right in the middle of it, between the corporate booths and the tournament floor. And I think that was both a good and bad thing because they made it so that you kind of had to walk by Artist Alley, which I think gives those folks exposure. I know a lot of artists that were pretty happy with having people having to walk through the Artist Alley to get from one area to the other. However, I also, as a player and listening to other players that were there, ran into experiences where like you could be late to pools trying to get back and forth between the booths and the tournament floor because it takes a 5 to 10 minute walk to get between them.
Yes.
I know other competitors complained that like some of them had to give up their pools because they couldn't make it back from one to the other fast enough.
How was security? Because I know that's been a problem in the past with just it took people too long to get into the venue, and that prevented them from making pools. Was it any better, or was it similar?
I feel like it was the most streamlined it's been since they've been doing bag checks and metal detectors.
Hmm.
They had the added thing of when you went to registration, you had to show proof of vaccination
Hmm.
to get your badge, which
Okay.
I highly appreciate. Um, there was metal detectors at each of the main entrances. You had to give them your bag, had to let them check your bag. You had to walk through the metal detector to get in, and they were pretty strict about that.
You
And
know,
if
like it's important to remind people because we people forget about mass shootings, but Mandalay Bay is the site of one of the most egregious, disgusting mass shootings in the history of the United States. So I feel like that venue specifically takes safety of their attendees super, super seriously.
Definitely.
and that's something that like there was an extreme different feeling for me as media this year compared to other years. I actually felt like in previous years at Evo as media, I felt kind of like an outsider. I felt like I was a burden on anyone I asked about anything, and I kind of felt like the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing. We when we first went when I first went to Evo with a few of my colleagues, it was pretty close, I think, after the Las Vegas mass shooting,
Hmm.
and there was a huge concern about like guns
Yeah.
or and there was a threat pretty recently before that somebody made a
Hmm.
threat that they would bring guns to the venue,
Yep.
and so like we were unimpressed with the security that year, and we
Yeah.
Yeah, I
wrote a piece.
remember that. That was 19, right? Because there was
Yeah.
the media check-in area. I saw someone open up the fence, and there were just people running by security because they were going to miss their pools, and I was like, well, there's your hole in the security.
Yep.
Mhm.
Uh, but it sounds
And
like they've taken steps to make that better.
what I was gonna say was that like it was a situation where we wrote a piece about it, and the previous management got mad at us and threatened us to not let us come back. And
That
that
certainly sounds
feeling,
like that old guard there, for
and
sure.
that
Yeah.
feeling of like, ha- that feeling of being treated that way because we were concerned about it was like, it was upsetting. But
Hmm.
here, Rick was trying to better the event on the fly based on the criticisms that people were giving him and the team. And I appreciate that level of adaptation and that level of being able to listen and try to take care of what people are asking for because it's already a stressful event and that guy already has a lot on his hands. But to be able to also adapt on the fly, I was very impressed with the way Evo staff handled everything this year.
You know,
Nice.
Rick
Yeah.
is always going to be proactive when it comes to situations happening in real time. He's definitely not the type to just sit by when it comes to that kind of stuff
Hmm.
at all.
And he's always been very like open on Twitter about like mistakes and how to make things better. Like that reminds me about like him in the Punk situation where like Punk was complaining about something in Combo Breaker, the monitors being laggy, or just a lot of the top player complaints. And Punk's defense, some of those complaints are valid. I get it. Sometimes it's also them kind of act like a prima donna a little bit, but Rick just took it to the chin. He was like, "Hey, about it. Like we can sit down. You're in the venue. I'm at the venue. We both know where we're at. Like let's meet." And he just kind of shut Rick down. But even in the face, getting dunked on by someone like Punk, like to be able to stand tall the way he did, I mean, I commend him 100,000%.
No, he's not about that BS. Like you're there,
That
you want to be able to fix a problem, or you want to just complain about it because you lost. Like that's how I see it. Like if you're really trying to make a situation more proactive for the community and other people around you, you just want to talk to Rick directly. Like go into more detail about what you think the problem is, so that we can try and fix it. Compared to only bringing it up after you've already been knocked out of pools.
What was
and
the what was your favorite game that you competed in? Is it still Guilty Gear?
it's still Guilty Gear just because I love I train so much in Guilty Gear, and to see all of the training that I put in against other players from around the world. Like, it's one thing to be online and play against faceless people. It's another thing in altogether to
Mhm.
put that training up against a person that's right next to you, to like have their pressure versus your pressure there in person, uh,
You,
feeling out that rhythm.
you know what I noticed about Strive, and this is just total casual watching it, right? These high level players, like when they're on, it's flawless victories. Like that game, there's not really a whole chance at a bounce back there. Like it kind of reminds me of Tekken in that sense, where that first strike and then you just kick their ass all the way to the wall, right? So it's
Yep.
like in Guilty Gear, you knock them through the freaking wall, then they fall down, and then you keep beating their ass. But it really felt like there wasn't a whole lot of momentum swings in that game at high level play. Is that right, or what would you say about that?
I would say that that's pretty accurate because Guilty Gear is such a fast-paced game, and when you get a hit confirm in that game, you could build big damage off of it if you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's it's possible to see a comeback, but it's less likely because of how easy it is to just take so much of someone's life bar off of one touch.
Yeah.
And Happy
And I would
Chaos
imagine
is
that,
ridiculous, right? Like Happy Chaos still
Happy
absurd
Chaos
character,
is a menace.
like
That,
absurd.
but Umi Show, they use that character on a level that I have never seen anyone use that character.
Sitting back, just popping off shots with the gun. I was like, what? Just,
Sitting back and popping off the shots is the normal Happy Chaos play. What
okay.
I was impressed with, like, a normal Happy Chaos will sit at the back of the screen and just shoot you over and over and over, reload, reset. If you get close, they'll knock you away, reset, get back,
Yeah.
and start shooting you again. What made Umi Show so impressive and why I'm not surprised they didn't get beaten at all at EVO is because they had a perfect, perfect adaptation of close quarters combat with Happy Chaos mix ups and that long distance chip
Yeah.
play. I've never seen anyone utilize Happy Chaos in close quarters that well.
Yeah, it was a mixture because it was like Umicho would like beat that ass for like 75% of the bar, and then that last 25% was just hanging back going pop, pop, pop. And I was just like, oh my god. It completely different game, but kind of reminded me of Fox in Melee. Just like the ability to be up close and whooping that ass and zoning kind of. But yeah, I suck at Guilty Gear. I suck at most fighting games. But like I hadn't really watched high level Guilty Gear, and then I watched most of the top 8 last night, and I enjoyed it more than Street Fighter. It's a faster paced, crazier, obviously more stylistic game than Street Fighter 5. But yeah, it felt like that was awfully late in the evening for a lot of people to be watching it. We were talking about this earlier, TJ, but I kind of want to get your confirmation since you were there. Who pulled the biggest crowd in the arena last night?
It wasn't even close.
It wasn't.
Like, what's up?
Who was it?
Idom.
Oh, so Street Fighter.
Yeah, I was gonna
Okay.
say that like Idom's run through Street Fighter was not only like Street Fighter already had the hype, but that run that Idom did through the losers brackets and top 8 and the grand finals, that was probably the most prominent stories of Evo. That was like the loudest I heard the crowd. It actually brought people into the venue to see that action.
Yeah.
It
yeah, I
was
remember after the Red Bull thing, people were saying that he was probably going to be slated to win this whole thing. And I mean, I know Red Bull usually does some sort of like, more personalized bracket before like Evo and CEO. So sometimes it's kind of hard to really make an assumption because not everybody can make it to those like qualifiers. But man, like looking at how he played when they did the what was it, the subway battles, I was like, this dude might actually win Evo. Like he might take this.
he went through one of the toughest gauntlets of competitors I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You don't just sit down and beat Daigo Umehara, Takedo, and then he went up against
Come
Kiwami.
back against Daigo. Yeah, just a sliver of health, and that pop off, the crowd just went absolutely apeshit. Evo inspires this like patriotic, nationalistic kind of crowds. Like people really start getting into the flag that's on the screen there. So I think he was one of the final USA members left, and obviously NYC also has like their own regional fan base, like that East Coast fan base. So
Yep.
it got loud
Yeah.
when just some of the best like recovery or just
That's
crazy.
why you always play a game.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It
folks
was-
will try and count you out in those scenarios where you've got some of the goats
And also
of
just
the game.
to do that against Daigo, who's like, EVO moment number 37, right? Like to do
That's
that
the
against Daigo, that's pretty legendary.
That's what
I
I'm
have to
saying.
say.
Like folks would have counted him out
Yep.
in other scenarios, but he came through.
So this has nothing to do with esports, but it just makes me happy. Trump's house at Mar-a-Lago has been raided by the FBI. Just want to throw that.
Uh-oh.
Yay.
Uh-oh.
No more
Sorry.
fun, son.
Just wanted to throw that out there, just a little grenade of news for anyone who's watching.
I do want to paint a picture a little bit here because, like, for those who don't know Street Fighter that well, there was a lot going on in that IDOM run. First off,
Mhm.
IDOM is one of the few pro Laura players out there. There
Really?
aren't too many players that play
Yeah.
that character.
Mhm.
It is a what would be considered a niche, a mid tier. Laura has to do a lot of work to get it. Where other
The former
characters don't.
Laura main, yes. I used to watch item all the time before I switched characters.
And then Daigo Umehara was on his own electric run. Like, Daigo Umehara hasn't made a top 8 at EVO for a pretty long time.
Yeah.
And he was playing out of his mind this Street Fighter. Everybody was so excited to see him get in. He went on a tear to make the top 8. And he was playing some of the best he'd played. And he's like, he's 41 years old. Like,
True.
Hey,
I'm
that's
just
not that
saying.
old.
I'm just saying, the dream never dies. It doesn't matter how old you are. If Daigo Umehara can make top 8 at EVO, then you can with enough training.
That's
But,
true.
Not me. But other people who are 41 might be able to.
yeah. But that is to say, like, that Ion went through... He took a character that nobody plays that much, and he went through some of Japan's best, while one of them, a legendary player, EVO Moment 37, was on his own tear, and he managed to beat every one of them to make it to the end. And that's amazing.
Yeah. It just felt like he ran out of gas. Like, the emotional toll of that loser's bracket run, you could see it in his face, like, halfway through that grand final. He didn't have it in him to reset the bracket. Like, it just wasn't there. And it sucks, but at the same time, like, he should be super proud of that run. It was wild. It was really interesting to see how many international players, like, I know we're kind of jumping around, but Tekken 7, man, like, that losers final between two Pakistani players, like, wild.
Wild.
Yeah.
Seeing Khan beat Arslan Ash, like, it reminded me of Meister versus MK Leo at, like, Frostbite or something. Like, seeing these two people who are, like, total buddies who, like, built up that scene together to both place third and second there. With Nee taking home a victory. Like, Nee, I don't think has ever won a Tekken 7 EVO.
No, I don't think I think he may have won a couple Tekken World Tour finals.
I don't think he's won at EVO before.
He's
Yeah.
He's won Tekken Tag Tournament finals, but he has never taken the big one at EVO and Tekken 7.
So,
Yeah.
like, that, I mean, there were just a lot of cool stories there. Like, out of the top 3, I would have been happy with any of those 3 winning. That was crazy. That game is old as hell relative to, like, an esports world view, and still entertaining as hell. And then we have that little teaser at the end.
That's right, Mr. Mishima just kind of came out and gave a glare, and there's so many people. I've watched the videos on YouTube of people trying to break down what that glare means, trying to frame by frame dissect it like it's a damn Marvel movie. It's like, is it 8? Is it Tekken Tag 3? And I'm
It's
like,
8.
oh, yeah, it has to be 8. At this point, I'd be open for any new Tekken game. Okay, like as long as it's on a new console, like just give me some new Tekken. And that, to your point, Austin, not saying there's anything wrong, obviously, with Tekken 7 because it is an old one, but it's a beautiful one. And
It's a great game to watch.
It's
Yeah, it's
so
a
much fun to
wonderful game.
watch.
And with me winning it too, like that just feels really good. I mean, of course, we all wanted, Khan or Arslan Ash to win it. I know I definitely want Arslan Ash to take this one too, so you could be back-to-back champs. But
And you also would have been the first 2-time Tekken EVO champion. So like that's like something that's sitting out. That's like the white whale for Arslan Ash now. But like I feel like he's brought up the Pakistani scene so much that they're beating him now. Like that's kind of awesome. Like from like just viewing it from a community standpoint, like I love seeing that. Like Pakistan's not on the esports map anywhere except for Tekken now. And it's like it's cool that, Tekken 7 is blown up there. I can't wait to see what happens with Tekken 8. That's going to be awesome. And like they've crushed it with 7 though.
I mean, we'll probably see Tekken 8 will probably not even. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna announce something, but it's gotta be. If it is actually Tekken 8, it's probably at least a year out. They're probably just starting kind of like a
Tekken World Tour. They have their whole schedule through the end of the year into January, I think. So yeah, we're not gonna hear. I mean, maybe we'll see some more teasers or a Jeff Keighley 30-second thing, or who knows, like at the Game Awards. But like, yeah, that's definitely seems like a 2023 thing, or 2024. We'll see. Like, out of all the esports that we watched yesterday, like Tekken 7's still in a really good place. Like, it's not.
I think next year will be like the go home for Tekken 7. I think we'll probably have one more EVO.
Yeah, give it one more EVO. Give it one more EVO.
Just one more. One more chance for Arslan Ash to take it. Just one more. Or Khan. Because, I think, the difference between Tekken 7 and Street Fighter 5, like the game is, I think the communities are a little different. Obviously, they're both very supportive, but like this Street Fighter at EVO felt like the perfect ending to a wonderful storyline, wonderful in part storyline to end right here. We had Daigo in there, of course, Idom. Just the whole narrative, the big fat run in the middle. I love that. But Tekken still feels good, and it almost feels like, we did an announcement, but you're having so much fun with this. It's not like who cares, but the community is like still fiending more Tekken 7. I mean, the Tekken 8 announcement was crazy. I've seen the IRL reaction. I think Bam Man sent me something. But Tekken 7 is just in such a good spot. It's just almost like the community is like, you know what? We want it, but we're okay with what we got right now. Where Street Fighter's kind of like, we're happy that this ended the way it did. Now give us 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And
I thought that was a great send-off for 5. But, it didn't feel like Tekken 7's last stand. So I'm happy about that. I'd like to see another Tekken 7 run at EVO. 2019, Tekken 7 was by far the loudest the arena got, the most crowded the arena got. It seems like this year Street Fighter 5 took that crown.
I think that's specifically because of IDOM, though. IDOM really did like draw the hype for that. I think Street Fighter 5, it still had a good crowd, but I think if it hadn't been for IDOM, Tekken 7 probably would have been the loudest crowd of the night.
Yeah. But it goes back to that whole nationality, nationalism thing or patriotism thing. Like people see that American flag and they're like, yeah. So I think that has a lot. You were in Vegas for that, so I think it's a lot to do with it.
Khan versus Arslan Ash is so cool too because like.
Can we talk about that? Let's talk about that, please. Go ahead, TJ. I didn't mean to cut you off, but Asif and I are waiting for this.
They are part of the same gaming circuit. They have been training partners for 10 years. And there was a lot of competition in Tekken 7 at this tournament. There was I think the second most signed up tournament of the whole thing. It was Guilty Gear, I do believe Tekken, and then Street Fighter, I do believe.
Yeah, Tekken was too.
And so those dudes had to fight through so many people to end up at each other. The guy that they've been training with for 10 years in the Pakistan scene. And you could see it when you watch their set. They would specifically pick stages that messed with the other player's play because they knew what the other player was going to use against them.
Yeah, Arslan kept picking the infinite, with the water on the ground.
That's right, no walls. No walls, no breaks. Nope, don't do it.
And never changed his character. not once, I don't think. So he didn't counterpick him, even though it seemed like Khan's character may have had some like meta advantages. But yeah,
Geese,
that.
Geese is good in any arena that has a lot of walls.
So I had a dumb question during this matchup. Is Geese the Final Fantasy dude from Strangers in Paradise? Who
No.
keeps talking
No.
about chaos? Because he kind of looks like him. He looks like a jacked version of the dude who won't shut up about
He
chaos.
does.
Wow.
But he's one of the original baddies. He's the last boss of Fatal Fury.
I just kept looking at him like, why does he remind me of Strangers in Paradise so much?
Fatal Fury, which also got an announcement this weekend too. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. At the end of the King of Fighters top 8, we got or was that, yeah, we got some Fatal Fury news. We got some DLC for King of Fighters. TJ, you made it out of pools in King of Fighters? How
Yeah.
was that?
Let's go.
I took Joe Higashi, who has always been one of my mains in Fatal Fury and King of Fighters and all those games. I love kick-based offense, and I love Muay Thai and fighting games, and so I know the ins and outs of Joe Higashi, and I put that to work at EVO in a way that I didn't expect I was going to be able to do, because it was just natural. I didn't train for that game as much as I had for others.
It's funny how that worked out. It's like the game you weren't training for is the one you ended up advancing the furthest in. Here's the level in the matchup we were talking about here. Khan versus Arslan Ash, Safina versus Geese. This was intense. And you could see it in between rounds. Once again, the production team did a great job of this. They captured, like, I saw Arslan at one point, like, he was breathing super heavily. Like, it was like he was winded from these matches. And Khan, like, he was sweating. He was like, he had trouble keeping his mask above his nose. I think that might have been a competitive advantage, by the way, that he was able to breathe out of his nose while Arslan couldn't. But no, it was like just intense back and forth, and it was just the two friends who have made it from, like, these guys don't come from much over there. Like, to be in Las Vegas at this huge event, I just think it's awesome. Like, I love seeing fighting games, like, elevate communities all around the world. And, like, yeah, we see players from Japan, we see players from Korea, South America at times, or Mexico in Smash right now. Like, I love seeing this, and I think the Pakistani scene in Tekken is not, like, gonna be this ephemeral thing. Like, if it was just Arslan Ash and then he went away, it wouldn't be a big deal. But Arslan's actually, like, invested in the scene there, and, like, we went from one person in top 8 to now 2. And I remember he was even in top 8, I want to say in 2018 at EVO.
I think he was too.
Yeah, so this is like, there is some momentum going for that scene over there. And yeah, these are two of the best players in the world, and they knew each other better than anyone else did. And it was like watching an epic battle. And I honestly, I called it the Pakistani Grand Finals of EVO. For Tekken 7, because the one who won that, you can see his face right there, like, just intense. Like,
there's a lot of pressure. You gotta hold your composure on stage,
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's really been elevated in the last 3 years, because he's the only person to ever win an EVO and an EVO Japan, and he did it, like, I think within almost, like, 8 months of each other or something. So, like,
Yeah.
He has been viewed as the best player in the world. He probably still is the best player in the world.
Honestly, he might be, and I'm really glad you brought that up. It's like on Facebook sometimes I come on there super duper late at night, and I'll just, like, peek in the Facebook gaming tab, and there's people from, like, over there playing Tekken. Now, I mean, obviously it's like not like a big tournament bracket, it's just a friendlies rotation of like 3 or 4 guys. But, like, I'll peek in the chat and they're running it, and I'm like, gee, I wonder where this community came from. There's probably a dude named Arslan Ash that came over here and was like, yo, we can do this. We just got to keep playing. I love this. I sometimes myself forget that, like, I am super privileged. Like, I do have esports everywhere I turn. I can just book a flight to somewhere like LA and, like, just go to an esports community or whatever. Like, it's changed all of our lives, but it hasn't changed our lives to the effect, like, what it has here for these two. And I mean, more than anything else in fighting games, like, we love a good storyline. But to see fighting buddies like this was my grand finals. I mean, I know that there was still a match after this, but this was my grands right here. I was like, this was what I was waiting for. Because
I knew whoever won this. I knew it. whoever won this was going to be too gassed to beat me. Me was just sitting there watching these two just beat the crap out of each other. It just didn't. You know, it's like in the NBA when one team has rest and the other one goes to Game 7 before the finals. You know, like one team's coming in nice and rested, doesn't have any injuries. Khan was emotionally drained after beating Arslan here, and like had to go straight into a battle with me, who is one of the best players in the world, and was like ready. This was awesome, but you know, he had to get not just beat me once, he had to reset the bracket, and that's just a very tall order.
It was even more than that because like Khan was in the winner's side. He faced me once, lost against me. Then he went to Arslan, and he faced me in a very tight set before the grand finals, and lost to him. And then he went against Arslan Ash, and they took each other to a 3-2. And then he had to fight me again.
Yep. So it's just that those last 3 matches for Khan were brutal. Obviously, I'm a little biased. My last name's also Khan, so I was like, I'm gonna root for this guy. And I also happen to be brown. But yeah, like, this is huge for an entire country. Like, to look at, they have role models to look up to in this thing that's gonna be. I'm sure in Pakistan this is national news today that these 2 guys placed where they did. Like, it's huge to have role models like this. That's like, hey, there is a way out of here, like upward mobility through something as cool as video games. Like, I think that's like super valuable. And like, I do think it's similar to what we're seeing in Mexico with Leo and how he has built like a regional scene down there, you know, where it's not just one Mexican player who's the number 1 in the world. He's built like, there are like 4 or 5 really solid Mexican Smash players now. You know, and a few years from now, it'll be interesting to see who takes Khan out. You know, like, that's a scene. That scene's growing, and it's exciting. It's one of the most exciting parts of this EVO for me. Obviously, I'm biased, being a brown guy and Pakistani American, but yeah, I love Tekken, and this weekend's Tekken was amazing. Like, that was some really good-ass Tekken trademark.
Yeah, we also got some character variety too, which I thought was nice. I mean, I know we have like the usual suspects like Jun Ding, you know, coming in with the Eddie Gordo gameplay. Me personally, I absolutely fucking hate that character. And I know he's playing him the right way, but I got some memories, okay, from Tekken 3, and I think we all do. Just pressing 3 and 4 gets me tonight. But you know, no Jack this time, which I thought was a bit of a breath of fresh air. And you know, we got a lot of Fang Blade too, which I thought was really cool. That's, you know, pretty rare these days. But yeah, you know, the geese, you know, this late in bracket, you know, is that was it for me. And you know, me and DLC and Tekken, kind of like oil and water, but I like a good geese. I cannot complain about that.
Hey, I didn't fall asleep during Mortal Kombat Top 8.
Okay, I was going to ask you about that. Did you stay up through the majority of it?
I stayed up for all of it. I actually watched Mortal Kombat this time. I think it's because it's probably the last time we're gonna see it at EVO, is my guess. But yeah, that was okay.
Yeah, there's elements of MK that are still, you know, solid. It's just when NetherRealm drops out, they drop out for real.
Yeah,
like
they're like, bye. We're going to go. We're heading out to get some cigarettes. That's what Ed Boon told Evo. And then he never came back. No, they'll be back. I want to talk about another game that finished on Saturday. Multiverses.
Yes.
You know, this was. I have thoughts. Okay.
Go first. I think you need to go first, then.
Okay. The pace of the broadcast was poor. And this is not the commentator's fault. It seemed like they had a pretty small space. TJ, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Like, it seemed like they didn't have the biggest area outside, but before Top 8. Top 8, they had one of the big screens or whatever. But their little booth area, it seemed like they only had one setup for the tournament.
Yeah. They did only use one setup for the tournament pools.
And
there were like
with how weird this game is, with characters, perks, and then all the different controller options. Like, you have people playing with GameCube controllers, with arcade sticks, with PlayStation controllers, Xbox controllers. It just the amount of hand warming time in between, the amount of button configuration, hand warming time, and perk configuration before matches, this game's already so damn fast, right, Rod? Like,
Yeah.
we've talked about this. It's a fast freaking game, right?
Very.
You're done maybe 5-10 minutes tops. The time in between matches was longer than the actual matches a lot of the time. So it just became a really weird cadence to, like, Smash tournaments are faster. I'll just say it. Smash tournaments are faster. Melee tournaments are faster. But, you know, this is a game that's still in beta. But then, okay, fine. Give them the benefit of the doubt for that. You know what's inexcusable? This pause button shit. This pause button shit.
Yeah.
That is some clown shit. That's shit that you
amateur
could have
shit.
fixed. That's some amateur shit that they could have fixed before this. And that bothered me. Because it changes the competitive nature of the tournament. You had people who were forfeiting matches because of it. Twice. You know, so it's like, this game's not
It happened
ready
in
for
the top, and it happened in the top 8.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
twice.
That's inexcusable. It's inexcusable.
Twice.
And I actually
Twice
I
in the
didn't
top 8.
Yeah, I didn't even take into consideration like the button configuration stuff when I was watching it. Like, oh wait, this is a platform fighter, but they don't use the traditional controller like just for, like per system. You can actually switch it around. I was like, that's gonna take for fucking ever. Like, I mean, it's a beautiful thing that they're bringing over all these different people
But
who play different controllers, but it needs to change.
And you work with VGBC, and
Yeah.
you see how they have player profiles on their production switches. So
Yeah.
before the top 8, they let the players come in there and get all their settings in. So all Leo has to do is go down to the Leo name and click it. You know, so there are things that you could put in this game, and I don't want to drag it too much because it's in beta, but I do want to drag it because it's in beta, and this was freaking a lot. This is a decent amount of money up for this.
Yeah.
It was like $100,000 prize pool.
I mean, it's also on a major stage, though, so I think that's even more reason for them to fix it. I think that because it happened the way it did
those
here.
are two things that they really got to fix, man, because it is.
Pause button thing is something that every other fighter has already figured out.
Yeah.
Like Guilty Gear, King of Fighters, Tekken, you have to hold the pause button for at least a good delayed second before the pause will activate.
Yeah.
That's
No,
not a hard.
Or
That's,
hold a button and that, like a 2-button combo, like a shoulder and the pause button. Like there are ways to fix that. There are definitely ways to fix that. And knowing your limitations is one thing on the software side. This could have been fixed with another setup. If they had two stream setups that they were jumping between, it would have been way faster and way more enjoyable from the viewer perspective. I do think that Vicky did a great job commentating. She's awesome. She's like the freaking esports Swiss Army knife at this point. You could put her anywhere and she'll do a great job. I thought the commentary was pretty great considering the game's very early. That the meta is not established yet.
Yeah,
Proved by freaking the cat going off with Wonder Woman. Like,
yes, sir.
What the hell was that? What? The cat and Void. Denny, can you play that clip from Void where he talks about like? So their opponent, they were in, Void and the cat had this great winners bracket run. They got knocked down to losers. I can't remember their names. These two guys knocked them down to losers.
It was. Wait a second. Wait. It was. They got knocked by Rose J and Mirror Man.
Yeah, Mirror Man. Mirror Man was talking some smack after that. They sent him down to losers. Like, oh, it's not that surprising. We won.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah, if you want to give this audio for this clip, just let Void. Void. Void's not really one to talk shit.
Yeah.
Usually not.
Not like at all. He's very quiet, kind of keeps to himself. He's a badass. I mentioned a couple episodes ago, I think he's one of the best video game players on earth. Like, if he's motivated, he can just destroy at almost any game. He's ranked very highly in League, very good Rocket League player, obviously an accomplished smasher who plays with characters that suck, so he hasn't been the number one smasher, and he's playing with Tom and Jerry. So, Nakat and Void played with Tom and Jerry and Wonder Woman the whole damn time. After, you can go look on the Cat's YouTube channel. There are like 5 videos about how broken Bugs Bunny is. They took down Bugs and Velma. And it was largely because of this final form. You can play it if you want.
All right, one second.
Folks at home, give us a listen.
Yeah.
but losing in winners finals just pissed me off, if I want to be honest. So I brought out the Red Bull. I'm running on all the energy I can, and every game's taking as much as it can out of me. And that's what I want, honestly.
So what you said is you just unlocked one of your final forms for this tournament right now.
Pretty much, yeah.
Nakat, are you prepared to support this man to the death for this $100,000
Pretty
here?
much.
Do you want the mic?
But
You have the Nakat one too.
Yeah, then the cat at the end of the tournament where he said, I have it in the channel, it's Talk Your S. But yeah, Nakat, like, dude was activated. Like, so, the whole tournament, I felt like Nakat was playing the hardest I've ever seen him play any video game. And, like, I knew this guy had the heart of a champion for years, man. But he let's be honest, he uses the worst mains in Smash. Like, not the worst, but ones that aren't top tier. They're not even mid tier in some cases. Like,
I agree. You know, Brock and Pikachu, you know, I think in like early 4 he was going Ness, which very strong.
It wasn't just Pikachu. Pikachu's decent in Ultimate. Pichu.
Well, yeah, then he was playing Pichu for a little bit as well. And same with, you know, Void. I think Void got top 8 at that first Genesis for Ultimate with Pichu, and then Pichu nerfs. He tried Rock and Sheik for a little bit, said, you know what, fuck this, I'm going back to content creation, which he's very good at, by the way, for watching this. Go subscribe to the Cat and Void. But them two together, we always talk about, like, Leo and whoever together, or, like, you know, ESM MVD, which is a very strong pairing, too, who kind of borrows from the same sort of thinking that these two do. But Void and the Cat are just on another level, man.
Did you see what they were doing together? They were like, oh there's Bugs Bunny. We're going to fuck him up together.
Fuck him up.
And it was like both of them just roll up on Bugs Bunny. It's like the other character on the screen didn't exist. They were just beating that ass. And you get Bugs Bunny up to 150 damage, and then you worry about Velma. You know, or it was Rain Dog at one point, and they would just let Rain Dog sit over there while they beat the ever-living shit out of Bugs Bunny. Like, it was so funny to watch them. Like, you're right. Their powers combined made them the champions. It wasn't like when they were divided, because a couple times they got split up, right? And Wonder Woman by herself will get her ass beat because she's a tank, kind of heavy, doesn't have the best defenses. So, like, seeing that combo and that dynamic in the game in general, like, this should never be played as an esport 1v1. After watching this weekend, this is entertaining, but I think this would be boring as hell as a 1v1 game. But that dynamic, getting to watch like, those two have been playing together as teammates in Smash for a decade, and it showed. Like, they had this unspoken communication, like, and he got triggered by that shit talking, and both of them did at the same time, and like you can see it in their eyes, and you can see it how they were looking at each other, and the hugs they were giving each other after the wins. Because it wasn't just the grand finals that impressed me; it was that losers final where they were down. I want to say it was 2-1, and they came back to win 3-2. That to me was almost as big as the 6-0 that they put up in grand finals. That 6-0, that was definitely that was their way of talking shit.
Oh yeah, they let the game do the talking for him, and I think for somebody like Nakat, who has done a little bit of both, he's been very vocal about, you know, I'm no longer, you know, Team Nintendo. You know, they don't pay any bills, they're not helping us out. And then of course Void just being a gaming just mastermind of Dexter's laboratory, if you will. I think this was really good for Nakat specifically. Like, hey, dude, I know when we were here last, you said you're not really worried about carrying the community on your back or being a community voice, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, dude, after winning the first biggest damn thing ever at EVO, that much money's never been on the line. Plus, you've been talking some good shit about Nintendo. It's very good that you won this, man. You're the man.
Yeah, no, I think, like, he had already, in my opinion, out of all the Smashers who are creating content around multiverse, he really does seem to be one of the most knowledgeable people about the meta. So to see him pick a character that's mid-tier, maybe mid to high tier, and then Void, who's the best Tom and Jerry in the world, but no one else. I didn't see Tom and Jerry much at all during the tournament. You know what I saw a lot of? I saw a lot of Bugs and Velma. Bugs and Velma. Oh my god, how many Bugs and Velma teams did you see?
Too many. And I think, you know, that's the whole gist to it. You know, like the whole early meta, we know these characters are broken, keep playing them, but like the double-edged sword of that as well, if everybody's playing these characters, they're only learning how to fight these characters at this level. There hasn't been another tournament where there's been other players who are playing different characters. So that matchup on familiarity plus Void and the Cat being, insane really carried them far.
It was wild. And apparently Wonder Woman's getting buffed.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine how disgusting the Cat's about to be with a buffed Wonder Woman? I know you're a Wonder Woman main too. Fuck, I might as well pick her up too, man.
For Themyscira, let's do it, guys. We're going.
No, she's fun, man. I actually, the shit he was doing with the golden lasso, though, I was just like, oh my god. Like, I didn't even think you could do shit like that. The down spikes that the Cat was hitting him with, I loved how fucking bold they were, man. Void and the Cat, it was like balls out watching them play. Like, they were not holding anything back. And that's what I was talking about with Void. When he's like that kind of motivated, I think he's unstoppable. I don't think anyone can beat him at most video games. And that was just cool to see. Like, I love to see that because these are two guys from the Smash scene that don't necessarily win Smash tournaments that often. Largely due to the characters they pick, also due to, like you said, Void's focused on content creation, and Nakat's obviously doing the same. And Nakat's got his Metafy, but like, to see them like actually focused and like laser focused on a goal, that was just awesome and inspiring to watch. So it was like, as a fan of platform fighters, it was nice to see that at EVO. But yeah, there are a lot of problems with that game that I think make it tough to watch. They tried to balance it during the broadcast by having a commentators table and an analyst table, but at like this point, what analysis can you really do?
I mean, other than like taking a match that just went down and kind of
replaying it and being like, well, then this happened and then this happened, but it wasn't. You could, and it's no offense to these commentators, because I really do think like no one really has a good grasp on the meta.
I think they were just trying to cover time for all that downtime between matches because it was ridiculous.
Yep. Even with the ads they were running, it was like they still had to do another segment with the analysts. So I do think that's like a big problem. I do think the characters are unbalanced. And that they readily admit that. Like, they said they have plans for various nerfs and buffs coming.
I mean, I give them plenty of space for that. I give them grace for that because this is EVO. It's not like it's some like back alley tourney somewhere. Like, you had a ton of signups. The money amount was ridiculous. So everybody in the mom was trying to play.
Too.
Yeah, they were paying out almost instantly, which a lot of Smashers who did compete like to show that. But like.
So yeah, you're gonna have some big failures on the main stage in this situation, but you're also going to have an idea of, okay, this is where we can fix those issues, and then this could be a completely different experience by the time we hit this next year.
I will say this: Melee pulls 6 digits of viewers.
Oh yeah,
at EVO. Just no big deal. It'll pull 6 figures of viewers. This maybe got 20,000 tops.
Yeah, this one was kind of tough. I think to be they're not a community game. They were technically an official game, very similar to what we've seen with like Pokken Tournament versus Marvel versus Capcom a couple years back and stuff. Which, by the way, of all the tournaments that have been in that position at EVO, this one was kind of ran maybe the jankiest with the production and everything. But yeah, to be kind of in the thick of things Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening with all the other titles going on, everybody else is watching multiple things at once.
They had really Dragon Ball Fighters was going on top 8 up against them, and that's still a popular game.
Very, very popular game. I agree, but Multiverse Saturday is just tough. But they definitely need to get to balancing the game, and I think there's no better way to really know what needs balanced, what needs fixed than getting everybody together in person. So I'm glad that they actually waited. They've seen who all we can bring out, how many of people, how many of each type of person can we bring out for this bracket. Let them play. We know we have a kind of okay idea of like what characters are good. Velma, Arya Stark, Bugs Bunny, characters like that. Tasman Devil, kind of.
That was a screw up on their part. I can't remember who switched to Arya in the grand finals.
Oh yeah.
I was like, well, they're gonna lose.
She's too light. She's too light for Wonder Woman. She's gonna.
I was like, and then I think Nakat and Void picked the Batcave, and I was like, oh, it's over.
It's done.
Yeah. So that was, I thought that was a bad choice on their part. But I think, had those who were those other guys in the grand
So
finals?
you know, it's
Are
funny.
they Smashers or like where are they from?
I want to say these guys are from. So some of these names here in bracket I have seen in the Rushdown Revolt scene,
Okay.
which, by the way, they also did a pretty big tournament as well at the same time. I think it was like a $10,000 or $20,000 event. So I'm actually wearing a shirt to kind of rep for them, only because I also don't have a multiverse shirt yet. I'm gonna fix that. But yeah, a lot of these guys come from other platforms. I think some of these Tiffany and Stolly are rivals with Aether players, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is really good to see. I love this. You know, when I see some of the Smashers from back in the day, if I'm not mistaken, Como Kiri played Pokken tournament and placed really well to CEO. Leffen obviously playing all the games he played. Two redacted players who are no longer with the community did really good together at the city event long time ago. So
I'm not saying I'm a Leffen fan, but holy crap, Leffen placed third in Guilty Gear.
I know. What was that?
I was just.
He's a secret. He's a secret. That's like his secret pocket other game. That's the only. Leffen plays Smash, but the only other game he plays seriously, I think, right now is Strive.
I have watched Leffen pick up games for years because he's sick of the Smash scene, and I get it. And there's not much money there, so I get it. But he has this that's his attention span for these things. The minute he sees something wrong with the game, he's out. You know what I mean? Like he's tried it with other traditional fighting games. The fact that he's stuck with this was what shocked me, TJ. I was like, wait a second. Leffen is not only sticking with a game that isn't Melee, but he's good at it, and he's not that was shocking to me. And he had a sick run, like a really good run.
He had a spoilery run too. Like the Leffen, Leffen fancies himself a god killer, and he came up against another Zato player that is very prominent, Latif. Who is a top 8 player, who was a very strong player out of Saudi Arabia. I actually got bodied by Latif in pools in Guilty Gear Strive. He plays a very strong and very aggressive Zato.
So wait, what the hell?
So
is there a Saudi Arabian esports scene that I don't know about?
Yeah, it was funny. I actually just got asked to go over there. I just got asked to go over there for a tournament, and I kind of had to turn it down because I was like, I can't go by myself. I need a partner, and they only just wanted to bring me. But there is a scene there, and it's kind of thriving a little bit.
Well, they got. Here's my question. There's how do I put this nicely? There's only poor people and insanely rich people over there. There is no middle class. There's no lower class. You're either destitute or you're fucking loaded. So are these just super loaded kids whose parents paid for them to come over here? Who are these kids? And do they just have all the time in the world because they don't go to school because their parents own fucking oil or something? What is going on here? Because it was not just there were some places I was like, Guilty Gear, the second place player, Slash or whatever, he was from Saudi, and they were rowdy. I can't remember the player's name. It was an American. It was an American versus Saudi player. I want to say it was the top 4 game, probably fourth place game. They were talking shit. They were in the crowd, waving their flag, talking shit. I'm like, you guys don't realize you're in America. You might get your ass beat doing that. But it was just, I was like, wow. I had no idea. It was one of those I want to know more situations. Because I'm like, where's the money coming from? How are these people getting over here? How do they have all this time? Are there esports orgs over there? Because I didn't see them attached to any orgs.
Yeah.
A lot of these Saudi players.
The two that Latif and Slash, who you saw in the top 8, are teammates.
Okay.
Yeah, they play together all the time. Slash played a powerful May in that competition and came up against Umisho.
Tony Mega Weenus in chat says live esports. That's what I'm saying, man. Is this about to happen, or is the Saudi investment fund about to just seed a new esports league?
Well, you know what's funny? So I actually just Googled it. It says Saudi Arabia has grown to become a major esports player in the recent years as part of its growing investment in the sport. Prince Faisal is Global Esports Federation Vice President, and I don't even know what this word is. Rida is due to hold the GF's flagship global esports game, whatever that means. But apparently they got a fuck ton of money over there.
Yeah, they
But
do. That's
to
what
your
I'm
point,
saying.
there's a big gap though, probably between upper and lower class.
Well,
Yeah, like
Saudi Arabia in particular has invested an enormous amount of money into video games really recently.
I know they own 5% of Nintendo.
They own 5% of
Holy shit.
SNK as well.
Whoa.
Yeah,
I
they've
did
been
not know
making
that.
moves. They've been, and obviously, I don't know if you guys pay attention to PGA, but they've been hiring away pro golfers from the PGA to their tour, giving them 9-figure deals. $100 million, $200 million. I think Phil Mickelson got something like $400 million. They offered Tiger Woods almost 800, and he said no. But like, I'm not saying that I'm not saying Saudi Arabia is about to start offering MKLeo $100 million, but maybe this is the key to unlocking some more money for players. But at the same time, I was like, I thought there was about to be a fist fight at EVO when, God, what the hell was his name? The guy who plays fourth in Guilty Gear. He got like super mad because one of the Saudi Arabian fans was talking shit to him that he could hear.
Hotashi.
Yes.
Hotashi is a shit talker to begin with.
Hotashi was about to beat that ass, though. He was about to leave the stage mid-tournament and beat that guy's ass. And I was like, holy shit, this is about to go down.
Hotashi is a character.
He really
like,
is.
He is. It was a shock to see him lose because Hotashi has gotten. He was the champion of EVO 2021 online in Guilty Gear. He has had he's won at several majors since. He has been at the top of the game for a lot of Guilty Gear Strive. And he made his name off of taking Sonic Fox out and becoming the quote-unquote hero of Guilty Gear for a while. Because that was a time in which Sonic Fox was kind of playing villain. He was like straight up saying outright, I don't even play this game and I'm beating y'all. And then Hotashi said, oh yeah? But like, that was like, it's really funny. Hotashi is, he is...
I literally thought we were going to see someone walk off the stage mid-tournament and just start an actual fist fight. Like, because he was like angry. It was like,
Yeah.
I don't know what was said, because I've been in esports and also just regular sports scenarios where people say some really foul shit to the competitors. Yeah. And I really wish I knew what was said there because it got to him. And like sometimes players, we saw it in multiverses. Talking shit to Nakat, probably not a good idea. Talking shit to Hotashi seemed to have worked pretty well. He was already tilted before then, but like that just like fully flipped it for him.
And he's pretty close to getting another first place or something too. Like I know he won the Arc Revo American Finals. He got first, but he got fourth here at EVO, third at CEO, second at DreamHack Dallas. DreamHack not the biggest, whatever, but they do well. Fourth at Combo Breaker. He got first at Frosty Fostings, which is a big one over there in Chicago, but not the biggest. But he's prime and ready to take something big again soon. And if it takes some talking shit to get him to do it, dude, sign me up. Look, I will shit talk so he can win it.
But honestly, Leffen, very quiet. So like normally that dude just talks shit. That dude talks so much shit in Melee and anything Smash related. He was awfully quiet this weekend. That's why like when I saw him on stage, I was like, huh.
He doesn't talk as much shit in other fighting games as he does in I think he plays.
It's when he hates them though. He turns heel if he hates your game. If there's something wrong with the game, he's just like, this game's shit. And he like goes off about it. But like, yeah, he must actually like this game. Was kind of my takeaway. And I was just surprised to see him.
That was something I was going to get at before, like that Latif guy that I told you about. So Latif was highly favored to like make it to the top 8. And then he came up against Leffen and Peppery Splash. And here's the story behind that. Latif is a Zato player. Leffen is a Zato player, as you see right here. Peppery Splash, also a Zato player. He came up against the players that he lost against were his mirror matches, and then he had the gall to go on Twitter and say, "I don't care who I lost against. I'm still the best at this game by far in the world."
That's how that works.
I don't know if that's true. If you placed, did he not even make top 8?
He didn't make top 8 because he lost to mirror matches of his character.
He's not even the best character. He's not even the best Zato in the world.
But like, and so like the reason why you didn't see Leffen go off as much is because Latif kind of made an ass out of himself on Twitter, and everybody dogged that dude, and Leffen just kind of sat back and laughed at it.
Oh, that's good. Maybe he's getting more mature. No. But
maybe. I mean, it's easy to be a villain, in something like Melee or Smash, where like, oh, he's I don't know, kind of a mean guy, but he wins, and he's kind of like a cool looking dude too, with a nice haircut and shit, whatever. But like in traditional fighting games, like there's a billion of those. So like that narrative, that type of character costume you put on, because a lot of these are just costumes. Like I think the most extreme example would be like Low Tier Guy. Like the stuff he says is really foul and vulgar. But I've seen him in person a couple times. Very polite guy, very polite dude. But like online though, there's like, hey, I got to pay these bills. And, I think the same can kind of be said for Leffen. I don't think Leffen's an inherently terrible person, but I think he knows, okay, this is my role. I'm the God Killer. I'm like anime here, moving off to the side. I'm getting ready to slay your favorite guy.
Yeah. But overall, pretty nice showing for Smash players at EVO.
Oh, yeah.
Like
the spirit of Smash lives on.
I mean, look.
The FGC, the wide community, there's plenty of games. More coming out next year.
Yeah, and I saw Nakat talking about wanting to get good at Street Fighter 6. Like Nakat straight up said that. I think, I think Void could be, playing these other games too. It's really what Void feels like doing. But yeah, I think there is an opening for some of these players to cross over to more traditional FGC games. Because they have the work ethic,
the games on the ground level right now. I mean, we're looking at 5 years for Street Fighter games, and now you got a brand new one dropping.
Guilty Gear was fun as hell to watch live. Like I am a
new season,
because last year it was online. I wasn't really paying attention to EVO as much last year, but like now we're back, I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this a good look, and that was kind of later in the night. But yeah, I had it on the entire time. It was.
Guilty Gear has that speed that people are really into watching.
Yeah,
I love the character variety in the top 8 too, because like there are a couple characters that are widely considered to be at the top of the heap that didn't even appear in the top 8. Remlethal is widely considered to be a menace in that game. Soul Bad Guy is considered to be a menace in the game. They not one of either character in the top 8. It was you had 2 Zatos, you had Ino, you had Happy Chaos, you had May. It was really cool to see, like, there was Chip. Somebody played a Chip in there, and like it was cool to see like all these characters that it speaks to the fact that the game has a very good balance, and if somebody cares enough about a character, they can make it in there. And because like I said, that Happy Chaos is a different style of Happy Chaos gameplay than I've ever seen anyone use.
It was so fun to watch, though. I was like, oh my god, I suck. I'm never going to play this game, but Happy Chaos is my favorite character in the game now. I was just like, because I saw how Umichu played with the character, and I was like, this is just fascinating and crazy. And yeah, I love the pace of play. It's so fast. You compare that to Street Fighter right before it, which I do think at times it feels slow still.
Five has always been slow in comparison to other games. That's one of the big things they've been addressing with 6, I think.
Yep. So I can't wait to see how 6 turns out as an esport. But Guilty Gear is a cool headliner. Cool headliner. But yeah, it was weird to have 0. I know, but it's weird to have 0 Smash there. I know it's not Sony's fault. It's not EVO's fault. It's probably Nintendo's fault. But yeah, it just felt weird watching that, and like even if you just let them have Saturday, like just let Melee have Saturday to figure it all out. I think.
I imagine like what chaos would have been though if they had all the Smash community there at the same time as everything else going on here. Some of they laid things out. It would have been ridiculous.
Yeah, because you're talking about an additional 3,000 entrants, Denny, and all that. Yeah, it could really.
I think Smash also just doesn't deserve EVO either, and I'm not to say that EVO up until this point has been the most like grand experience, but Smash just complains about so much, the best of fives and when those starts and scheduling and why does our game start at this time and not that time. I'm like, you guys are talking a lot of mighty shit for a damn developer who doesn't even support you guys. Like, you're lucky, to be honest, that you're even here, because we talk all the time on Twitter, but we got Genesis and Smash now, so we don't need EVO. I'm like, okay, cool, well, you're not here. And then it's a big deal. Like, well, no, we're not here. Wait, what?
What's the prize pool looking like for Smash Con, Rod?
You know what? I'm gonna look that up really quick.
Because I know Smash Con's this weekend. I know like a lot of players just kind of took this last weekend off. But yeah, the one thing I noticed is that there weren't a whole lot of Smashers jumping into multiverses. That doesn't seem to be a thing. The other thing, I don't know if you guys watch Video Game Donkey at all. He put out a video last night.
23,000.
What?
$23,888 is the prize pool. And then doubles has a smaller one at $10,540.
Okay. But yeah, like I think there's I don't think that multiverses is pulling people away from the Smash scene.
I don't think they are either.
I think that it necessarily needs to either. Like,
no, it doesn't. And there can be their own best players in the world and stuff, but like, I think Donkey actually made some very good criticisms of the game as like the actual nature of the game, the gameplay issues, and he highlights that floatiness that we've talked about on this show, which I do think is a problem. He really doesn't seem to like that LeBron is a character in the game, and Donkey is a Nintendo fan. And it comes through in that video. I recommend you check it out, Rod, because he's making the case. It's not even a case for Smash. He's just making the case against multiverse. It's called the Multiverse of Badness. Is the name of the name of the video. And I know we've had like a lot of positive things to say about multiverses, and like this has kind of tilted negative. But I think that there's like, before we all just declare Smash dead, like we should probably.
It's not about Smash being dead. It's about there being the opportunity
option
for there to be more out, especially a paying option. Like,
I get it.
It's going to push people towards that direction more than what we saw with Brawlhalla recently.
Yeah,
some of these other games are doing the complete opposite.
Hold on, before we get into that, one thing, of course. We gotta pay some bills real quick, because I'm glad I was going to actually ping you, Asif, to jump in for the Brawlhalla talk. So before we get into that, we got to pay some bills. So first and foremost, friends, if you're watching this, you already know exactly where you're at. You're here on twitch.tv/Shacknews. And if the conversation, the banter, and the fun just between the four of us has not, enticed you to hit that subscription button, then maybe we'll just have to start like an OnlyFans or Only Shack just soon, because subscribe, all right? We got a lot of cool stuff over here. Awesome emos, some content shows happening every day throughout the week, around the clock, on the hour. We got something for you, okay? So please support us here. If you got Prime Game, you can do that for the low price or free. So you already know where you should spend that. Second of all, we are on YouTube as well. Talk about this in our show. I'm going to talk about it here too. If you miss all the funness that goes on here on Twitch, or if you're just not a live stream type of person, then we got some post content for you as well too. Head on over to our two YouTube channels. How many other news sites do you know has two popping ass channels? I'll give you some time to think about it. All right, Shacknews, Gamer Hub TV. We're doing some great stuff. We've got wonderful content. Reviews, previews, box openings. Of course, that's wonderful stuff with retail therapy goes as well. So for all of you card or just collector fiends in general, doesn't have to be Pokemon card. If you like to collect stuff, we got some stuff for you on YouTube as well. Also, check us out on social media. We're on Twitter. We are verified. We are real people, okay? We are also on Instagram as well as Shacknews Media. We got some cool content coming up there as well between myself and Danny. We've been working on some cool background stuff. We hope you all like it. We are also on Facebook too. If you just, hey, I'm not really hip and happening, I just want to stay on Facebook or Meta or whatever it's called these days, we are on there as well. And our posts and articles do very well, especially ones where we're talking about Elon Musk, because it's always fun to make fun of Elon. I don't care what anybody says. It's always fun to dunk on that dude, whether he did anything or not. But yes, also we have our own social media platform, Shack Pets, the ultimate battle of cuteness. If you have a beautiful fur baby, just small baby animal of some sort, and you want to pit them against another cute, wonderful little awesome baby, you already know what you need to do. Download that app. It's completely free, okay? if you think your little fur baby is cuter than the one next door or across street or at that dog park, you can even use this app as a way to maybe pick up that really fine person that you've been thinking about at the dog park. You know, like, hey, I think you're awesome. Are you on Shack Pets? We should battle. Boom. Sign up. Boom. You got the information right there. There's a billion ways that you can use this, but it all starts with downloading it first. All right, friends, head on over to your app store.
I know that we basically ripped off Tinder's mechanics with Shack Pets, but I never thought of it as a dating app. But I guess maybe down the road.
Yeah.
I remember after the first year of iPad, Steve Jobs said that he had this email from a customer saying that a girl was interested in them because they had an iPad at a Starbucks or something. So yeah, maybe someday we'll have stories about people getting married from meeting on Shack Pets, but not yet. And there's no DMs there, so no one's gonna be sliding into your DMs or anything.
It's coming soon. It's coming.
No.
I'm kidding. But also, if your fur animal does not exist anymore, like let's say they've crossed over to the great beyond in the sky, there's a memoriam section as well too, so you can show them off. Or even if you just don't have them anymore, like me, I had to give away my cats to the Humane Society when I moved, only for my landlord to say a week later, actually, you can keep your cats. Like, oh, that's not how that works. They're already at the Humane Society and they're already gone. So don't be like me, okay?
Yeah, I mean, definitely don't be like Rod. But
Don't do that.
you know, like if your cat or dog or whatever has passed away, like yeah, they live on for eternity on Shack Pets and they continue to battle. And then on top of that, you can be the latest pet if you upload a photo. And if you don't have a pet, this app is actually kind of full of things to do now. You can vote. I think everyone has the ability to judge which photo is cuter. So you can do that on the platform. You could still win Shacknews for the day if you participate on the Cortex. So yeah, there's a lot of things to do for people who don't necessarily have pets on Shack
Half
Pets.
a mind to unleash a wave of sad flav pics onto Shack Pets because my dog was very upset that I was away on assignment for not one but 2 weekends in a row.
Yeah.
Like before EVO, the weekend before, me and my spouse left to go figure out some moving arrangements, and then last weekend I was away for EVO. So she's not used to me. I haven't been on work assignments for like 3 years, and she's not used to me doing that. And she was like, Sam was sending me pictures of Flav just sitting in my office being all sulky.
Oh.
Yeah, it was so sad. But I was like, when I got home, she just like went nuts.
Oh yeah. No, it's obviously same here, right? Like I went I think in 2019 I may have traveled more just per week than any year of my life. And then obviously that's been like done. Like I haven't gone on assignment since. I went to 2 assignments in 2020, but since the lockdown of 2020, I haven't really traveled much. I can't imagine how Lola would handle that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you know, I was talking to Blake, who was kind of away from the site last week, just about Shack Pets and how he was using it. And yeah, like people, you know, it's a place where all of your pet photos will live. So even if you're stuck in line or something, or if you're away from your home, you can just go to the My Pet screen and like see pictures of your pet. So I've heard of people like using Shack Pets to show photos to people in real life. Like, oh, here's this app that just has pictures of my dog right here. You know, so like it's a little easier than, you know, when you have to go through the Photos app on your phone and there's screen caps of memes there and directions to Bennigan's and all sorts of things that you don't really want to show someone. Shack Pets is this focus place that's going to be like a destination for pet pictures. But yeah, we're working on all sorts of crazy stuff for it. We have a roadmap that now extends to 2023 for the app. And I thought we were going to be done at some point and that we could work on a new app, but clearly this is the first time we've done any of this. So a lot of ideas keep popping up and we're excited to keep showing them to you. And, you know, Lola's approaching her 10,000th win. No big deal. But yeah, we're going to try to get her to hit 10,000 wins pretty soon.
There you go.
I do want to get back to a certain aspect of EVO. How was the viewing experience with ads from home?
I thought there was maybe one or two too many ads.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think
It
it
just
got brutal
was
depending on what the lineup was.
jarring at times. Like I prefer it when the people running the Twitch channel communicate with the commentators. But so frequently, commentators would be cut mid-sentence into an ad,
Yeah.
which I think sucks. Like, obviously, you're going to have that. You're going to give that incentive for people to sub to your channel. I get that. Like, that's not the issue. But just from a production standpoint, I think, VG Bootcamp does a really good job of that, where they let Rod or whoever's on the comm desk know, hey, we're going to throw to commercial. Also, like Summit, some other companies, they have ads that they run as part of the stream, so they're not as dependent on the Twitch ads. So maybe that,
There
I
was a
think that
mixture
might
of
be a
both
good
happening.
solution.
I just think that the main issue I saw was that a lot of times you have like a really intense or close set or match going down, and as soon as it ends, they're switching to the Evo screen. Then it's that time. Like there's no commentary afterwards, or you just
Yep.
watch like someone win a really close game, final round, and then it's just bam ads, just like
Yep.
hitting you in the face. No breakdown with the commentary or the reactions from the people on stage. It
Like,
was
even
really
just 30 seconds. Like, even if you just give your commentator desk 30 seconds to be like, wow, that was crazy. This is what happened. Hey, stay tuned. We're going to run some ads. Like, just a little bit of context each time they did that. I agree, Denny. It would have made for a better viewing experience. But I also think, like, maybe less dependence on Twitch ads themselves and more in the can ads that, you got from your sponsors. Like what BTS does really well, I think. Like, the Summit ads, you barely notice them. Like, it's like, here's a Papa John's read, here's this ad that we shot, or here's this sketch that involves a product or something. So I think that is something that Evo could borrow, and they have the ability to pre-produce that stuff. But I think in general, Twitch ads suck. So
it's not like that
depending on
way, 'cause
Twitch
they basically force you to either run them yourself or they're just gonna run them randomly.
yeah. But yeah, I agree. Like, it messed up the pace of the post game almost in a lot of the different games. TJ, I had a question though. You hadn't been on assignment. I know you went up to Dallas a few weeks ago, but like, you haven't been on assignment in like 3 years. How did that feel?
My feet feel like they're about to fall off my body,
Okay.
and that is. And I I've been on assignment. I know about having good socks and good shoes. I know how important that is. But man, it was a gauntlet.
A lot of walking. It's a
A
lot of
lot of
walking and
walking.
a lot of standing around. And I know you had a camera with you, so you're carrying stuff. Like, it's just,
Laptop
yeah.
and my power supplies. So like I had a lot in my backpack, and I think it was exacerbated too by the fact that, like I told you, the corpo booths and the tournament floors were on opposite sides of the convention floor, and the convention floor is huge, so there was a lot of walking to get back and forth between them.
So weird, because like, the Evo, I remember, it was like the competitor, like those big ass screens and like the chairs and everything were almost on. There's like two sides of the convention center that were like both dominated by that. It seems like, were there more booths than in previous years?
Yes, I would say
Okay,
so.
I guess Sony was never there, but then again, Nintendo wasn't there this year. Ark's always there. Did Capcom have a booth? Yeah, right, for Street
Capcom
Fighter.
had a booth.
Okay,
Bandai Namco had a booth.
yeah.
SNK had a booth. And then there were a lot of like more mid-range, not so high caliber fighting game developers and indie game. There was even an indie fighter booth, which I thought was very cool.
Yep.
They had an indie fighter booth.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
there
saw
was
somebody on Twitter.
I
Someone-
saw a bunch of different I saw a bunch of different indie fighting games and beat 'em ups were showcased out there.
Did you get to play King of the Hat?
I didn't get to play King of the Hat.
That was there, I guess.
All right.
that-
Okay, hold on, y'all, because we're coming up on the second hour. But there's a couple other things here that we just gotta we gotta make fun of. And I was gonna summon Asa for this, but I'm glad that he's here. I didn't have to talk about Burger King to get him to jump on. Brawlhalla had a developer stream on Tuesday. Yeah. What the hell was that? Was Asif and I the only ones that watched that? Did you guys get a chance to see any
I
of
think
that?
Denny was watching it too.
Yeah, I was watching it originally, and then I had to bring attention to it because it was turning into a train wreck in real time. But that's a benefit when you have a live stream and where you're kind of winging it when it comes to pointing out how you want to address the audience. And the chat is not happy with anything you're saying.
Chat is upset. The worst things a community manager can ever say live on stream to a dev, and then he took the iPad away from him. Like, that was embarrassing, man. The whole thing was though, because like it was a train wreck before that happened.
Well, yeah, because he started reading a thread from Twitter on the stream, and then answering by saying what he's not going to do. So if you're a developer, just a tip here, A, pulling things from Twitter directly, B, reading those things off from Twitter directly, and then C, saying, we're not going to do any of this. To the people that you're wasting time reading it to is probably not a good idea in most scenarios. I think that they might have had good intentions to a certain extent, but you have like close to 8,000 people watching a stream who are looking for, some kind of direction or responses to what the future of the game is going to be. Your first response shouldn't be what you're not going to do, with no answer to what you are going to do.
They made matters worse by like saying, "Okay, we've studied the thing that you're complaining about, and we haven't found anything." It's like, what? Like there was a claim that easy anti-cheat was hurting the frame rate of the game.
Yeah, from top players who were saying that.
But then it was also input delay, right? So there was two claims being made. And the dev was like, yeah, we've seen no evidence of frame rate issues. It's like, well, what about the input delay? Like they were ignoring like very clear complaints from top players. They're going to end up losing some top players from their scene. It's happening at a time where multiverse is a thing.
And it kind of stinks. Like, I think Duke, the guy who had to kind of come in here and save the day, thank God he was there. They've always been very just like polite and open, with like community feedback. They're always on the ground, like they're not faceless. I don't even know what Duke does these days. Originally it was like a community role, but he looks like he's way more hands-on than what he was before. But when I'm going to like Combo Breaker, CEO, EVO, whatever, they always have like boosts. They're encouraging people to play. They're doing small tournaments, big tournaments, qualifiers, whatever. And like to see this happen, it almost feels like we've just taken multiple steps in the wrong direction. Like I've never been in a position of a community manager before, but I feel like if I'm the one that's more, dare I say, media trained or at least trained better to answer questions off the cuff, I would just put myself in that position. Then I think this gentleman's name is Matt something. I'm like, I wouldn't have had him on there. Absolutely not. Especially when he says like, he hasn't done a live stream in like 3 years. I'm like, no.
It's more so having someone like that and then having them also leading the discussion. It's like, why are you the one that's talking to the community directly if you're on the developer end? You're just going to tell us that they didn't find any evidence anything that's happening. Like,
yeah, I linked the clip we tweeted last week in our chat. But yeah, it's worth watching. It's a crash course in how not to handle a community dev stream. And yeah, I don't know. I think Brawlhalla, it's unfortunate because Ubisoft and the Brawlhalla devs have put money behind their game as an esport, and it at times has been good to players. I hope they can turn this around, but
there's got to be a completely different approach to how to communicate to the community next time.
You can't have your head in the sand like this, and then do whatever the hell that was. Like you just can't. Like that stream shouldn't have happened. Is kind of my takeaway.
Facts.
Not like they just shouldn't something to actually share with the community. I mean, that was the main
that's
thing.
My point.
There wasn't anything to share.
Like they could have done I think they did a survey before that led to this, but like they could have done a press release or like a tweet or a tweet thread. Here was what we found in this thing. and then let them react that way. But to act like you're going to have this dialogue with your community when A, you haven't done all the research you needed to do, B, you didn't have a fix in place, and C, you're kind of in denial that there's a problem to begin with, like, it just came off really strange and weird and dumb. Which is unfortunate because I don't think Brawlhalla is that bad of a game. I think that, like, easy anti-cheat may have made it a bad game, but which sucks, and that they had the fact that they felt they needed to put EAC in the game also sucks. That there is like a cheating element going on right now, so those things aren't great, and I understand their motivation to make the game better for players, but yeah, it was bad. That was bad. No one should ever do a stream situation.
Yeah, that I was just cracking up the whole time because, like, as somebody who has to like talk off the cuff all the time, I'm like, yeah, what is going on here, y'all? Like, and then the interviewer is like, it looks like he may have had some prepared questions, like, hey, these are just questions I'm bringing to you, like, what's up? And it just became a point where like the interviewer is just kind of sitting in the chair, kind of staring at the guy, and then the other guy is just like on the iPad, like not even really acknowledging him.
I believe
just, like,
that was. I think the community manager was the guy that was sitting there, and then
the guy on the left was the community manager. I'm not sure. Yeah,
the other guy was more of the dev side. He just kind of hijacked the stream at that point.
He's like, "Give me the iPad." I was like, oh.
Yeah, that was. He said, "Yeah, I'm gonna take that because this is just going really bad, and I just need to take this from you so we can answer some."
Yeah, he said,
I've
I've been
like,
watching this for the last 30 minutes, and we've answered nothing, and the chat is just getting angrier. So we're just gonna take
so harsh. That was so harsh. Oh,
this is just a really bad time for a platform fighter to not handle itself properly. I think.
But what if I told you there was a platform fighter that's getting Hugh Neutron as DLC?
No.
Not going there.
Dead game.
Oh, so they were also at EVO too. This was like the grand announcement of like Hugh Neutron. Like, hey, be sure to check out Hugh Neutron at EVO. I'm just like, dude, it's done.
Wait, they were there?
They were there.
TJ, did they have a booth for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl?
Not that I explicitly saw or remember.
It was like maybe it was in the indie area.
Maybe.
It might have been because like I don't particularly
you
remember.
Miss Hugh Neutron, the story of EVO.
I know. Like now I'm like trying to think back. Like, did I see it? I don't know.
I'm not gonna let you guys feed this Hugh Neutron nonsense when there was things that we didn't cover, like all the games getting rollback netcode. All right.
Yeah.
It was flowing like water this weekend.
God.
Every announcement it was rollback.
It's like a billboard just for frickin' Nintendo. It says, hey, the whole industry is adopting rollback netcode. Just big red sign in the air. It's like, please understand, Nintendo.
No, Nintendo's like, you guys are gonna get another Labo. Get your cardboard ready. All right, you're not getting rollback. You're getting Labo 2 and 3.
Is worried about Splatoon 3.
Nintendo's like, hey kids, we put a Ethernet port in your dock. Ethernet.
Yeah.
That's what they did, Rod. They gave you Ethernet. But yeah, that, like, man, Dragon Ball FighterZ getting rollback, that was unexpected. Did not see that one coming. That's cool.
Yeah.
For it, I was thinking more like, okay, they're gonna set it up. There's gonna be a Dragon Ball FighterZ 2, and that will have cross-play and all that.
That's definitely still happening. It's just but this is probably closer they're gonna get to a beta for that rollback. Will be in this game while they're preparing for the second one, the sequel.
Mm-hmm.
God,
I need a Dragon Ball 2 without as many Gokus. The developers, if you're listening to this, we don't need 12 versions of Goku. Trust me. There's not 12 different versions of Ryu. There's the other guys. I don't want 12 Gokus.
More Goku.
I like
more Gokus in the game.
I would take more Gokus.
Chat,
you let us know. Do you want more Gokus or less Gokus?
No.
And tell us why Rod is wrong.
Oops, all Gokus.
First it's the Burger King, now it's the Gokus. I can't win.
Also, this New York Yankees hat, like, what's that about?
I have a big head and my hair is fucked up, so this is like one of the few hats that actually like.
I'm not against wearing hats, Rod. I'm just against the Yankees.
It was.
It is a nice hat, though. I do like it.
I do need to actually. You know what? It might be time for me to put my McDonald's hat on because it might be time for sauce talk too. Is it
But
time?
yeah, is there anything else we're missing from EVO? Obviously, there's a lot of shit that happened
There's
there.
plenty of things that are probably
That's
still
a-
there.
The thing about one of the things I wanted to bring up about the ads was that it was a weird thing kind of on the floor too. Like there's a couple aspects to it that I want to address. One was that when the dudes were casting out on the arena floor, sometimes the ads would like cut in and like they would have to speak, like the ads would actually have audio going and so
Over the
casters-
loudspeaker?
over the loudspeaker, and so the casters like Steve and all of them would have to like talk over ads.
That's crazy.
That's audio. That's audio fucking up there.
And then like another thing is that I think this, I don't know if y'all got to see this. Denny, I put it back at the bottom of social in our work channels, but they were also doing things in between games in the top 8 where like they did like rock paper scissors competitions and gave away PS5s.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it reminded me very much of like, is EVO trying to be like baseball games, or where they do like the 3 hot
Silly
dogs
things
racing
in between.
Yeah.
In between innings, or like basketball halftime shows, like with the red panda lady.
Yeah.
Honestly, red panda at EVO would be kind of lit. I'm not gonna lie. Have you seen her with the bowls and she throws them up on her head?
Yeah.
I mean, or there's another. Her name's Grace. She like dances with fire at basketball games. Look, I'm all for esports becoming more like sports, especially when it comes to how they're paying players. Because that would be awesome.
They have to strike a balance though, because I don't want to be at EVO until 3 in the morning.
I agree. That shit is long, and I mean, it also hurt the Dragon Ball Fighters announcement because they announced crossplay for Dragon Ball Fighters at like 2:30 Pacific time. It's like, who the fuck? No one was gonna cover that because we were all asleep.
Yeah.
It's like that's.
I guess technically
That's
it
the
might have
problem.
been better for the Japan. They probably were like, okay.
I guess that's prime time for a Japan announcement. I guess that was weird. I agree though. That was a bizarre thing.
Yeah, 'cause if you're up late on the West, like you're just up late everywhere else. Because I spent a week out there from like, I think like double down into something else, and I was like, I can't do it, y'all. Like I'm going to bed early. I'm getting up way before everybody else. And I'm going to bed at like 10 o'clock.
Oh yeah, because I've lived on the West Coast before, but the stock market operates on New York time, so my day started at 6:30 in the morning, but I was done at 1 p.m. So yeah, when I lived out there, definitely had like an earlier lifestyle, Rod. Like I was up at like 6 in the morning, going to bed at like 10 at night, which seems like really freaking early, but when you're waking up at 6, it's not. But no, yeah, it is weird. I think that's something they can hammer out. It may be as simple as just removing a game, like Mortal Kombat.
You're not gonna let this go. But you know what though? If any game does it, it's them. It is them.
That game's done.
It's cooked. It's very
done.
cooked.
RoboCop is boring as fuck to watch. I cannot stand RoboCop mirror match.
I get what
Did
you're
you see
saying.
Did you see the people that made top 8 though? Like there was some new blood in the Mortal Kombat scene
It was.
That's
that
true.
we'd never seen in the top 8. Like even Sonic Fox addressed the fact that like there were younger players that were around his age when he started going into Mortal Kombat and winning it.
Yeah, I think
And-
the oldest, the furthest placing like old school player, I think was Foxy Grandpa. Everybody else after him was, I think, newer. We had Scorpion, Prox, Rewind, and Nicholas. So
It's such a cool year to see new blood come into EVO and take and actually beat old guard.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't fall asleep this year, so I'll give him that. But man, that can go. Well, all I'm saying is like, if you're gonna have those 4 games on Sunday, like, hopefully there's a faster paced game than freaking Street Fighter 5 next year, because that was the lull in the whole thing. Like, and I mean, it was hype because of IDOM's run and all that stuff. Like, I'm not dogging the actual broadcast, but like that if I had to point at where things slowed down, it was there. I like the idea that they're handing out free PlayStations at the event because like Sony was there, like that was Sony money backing it.
Yeah.
Like they should be doing stuff like
I mean,
that.
hopefully there'll be
Yeah.
more setups in general for some of that stuff. Maybe they'll be able to handle more of the brackets in a different way.
Yeah. They need to get a better handling on ads so they can make sure that the schedule remains on time. But outside of that, like I think my last closing thought on EVO 2022 is that even despite the issues that it had, it was the best starting point for this show to come back that I think was possible. There were so many improvements that I enjoyed as both a competitor and as both a media person. I couldn't obviously see things online as much as other folks could since I was boots on the ground. But like as far as my experience at the show, everybody was happy to be there. Like the players were in good spirits, everybody was positive, the energy was high, the booths were happy to be there. The features like the arcade museum were really cool additions. I think that Evo still has some work to do to flesh out and smooth and polish the rough edges, but I think that they're going to get there because Rick and Pokimane and Sony all care about this thing on a level that I don't think was there before.
Yeah, and out of all these events that are coming back right now, like we've seen CES come back, we've seen PAX come back, we've seen GDC come back. Evo should be back. That's the one where I'm like, we can't just live online forever with this event. It can't. This event needs to be in person. It's far more entertaining. Offline events are far more entertaining. It's not that online events are bad and that they should go away. It's just that this is one that I'm glad they took the time out to figure out the logistics of getting everyone there, an international event, bringing everyone together with COVID protocols that are probably the strictest we've seen from an event this year. Obviously you have to wait 2 weeks until you really find out how safe it was. But yeah, like at a time where TwitchCon is announcing like we're not gonna test or do anything, and just
on that.
we're gonna have a hot tub full of gamer girl saliva that you can all just swim in at the entrance. Like with that going on versus Evo, like I think Evo has shown us like they care about their community and they really do want to build this from like the ground up again. I think that's awesome. Out of everything, like there's two events that happen every year where I really miss them: Evo and QuakeCon, and both of them have to happen in person for it to really go off right. We're not going to get a QuakeCon this year, but I'm happy we got Evo. And I think once again, just shout out to Rick and his whole team. They did an amazing job.
Absolutely. Not only making a format and like improving upon the format that was there, but actually reacting and adapting and trying to make things better on the fly. I think that's a level of dedication that will serve Evo wonderfully in 2023, 2024, and beyond.
Like you said in our E6 interview, that as long as it's something that doesn't actually interfere with the tournament, he's willing to listen to any of those suggestions when it comes to ways to make things better moving forward. With Combo Breaker or EVO or any other tournaments he's in charge of. So I think having that kind of open communication is how you make things better.
I'm sad we didn't get a Power Stone 3 announcement though.
Yeah.
Well, we got Garo Market of Wolves, which I did not see coming. So I'm happy about that end.
That was insane. Like, it's the guy who actually like directed the first Garo Mark of the Wolves. He wanted to continue that story. That's been an ongoing storyline in SNK fandom for a while. Is how much that like people dug up hidden files and concept arts for Garo 2 that never happened. And so for him to get his chance to direct this game after more than 10 years is so cool for not only him, but like the entire fandom at large.
Yeah, this kind of stuff that Evo exists to be kind of like a place where some of that kind of stuff can go down and people remember being there for it in person. those kind of announcements, I think, is like what lives on beyond just the event itself.
I thought Sony was gonna do some like. Do you remember that Microsoft E3 where they just were like, "We're buying 14 studios, and here they are." I thought Sony was about to be like, "We acquired Capcom,"
Fuck.
but that would have been a sweep the leg moment. But with Capcom, with Street Fighter 6 coming out multi-platforms, it seems like Capcom is like doing so well now that they're not really in a position to be acquired. Like maybe 5 years ago, before all these the Resident Evil revival, before Monster Hunter World. Like they've had a lot of success in the last 5 years, but
It's been definitely a bounce back from the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite days.
yeah.
Like,
That's what I mean. Like you look at them 5 years ago now, it's like wow, Capcom's actually killing it. But yeah, awesome. So happy Evo went off well, and that you played great, TJ. I thought you did great.
Thank you.
And you did better than I would have. But yeah, that was awesome.
I performed out of my mind this year, like on a level that even I wasn't certain I'd make, and to see all of my practicing, because that's a thing, right? With like the gaming community and journalists, is that journalists can't play games. Journalists look at games. Is like to prove that stigma wrong in real time is a good feeling.
Dude,
Well, you earned a jersey for next Evo, so we're gonna have to figure out how to get him a jersey. We'll have to figure out a Shacknews esports jersey. He's technically our first Shacknews esports player right there.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true.
I'm gonna go hard in 6, so we'll see how things go.
That is wild to think about, TJ. But no, and I'm glad that your flight situation worked out and you got home okay. But yeah, that was intense that day before.
Yeah.
I was very worried for you. I'm like, oh my god, he doesn't. What the fuck?
Yeah, I was like, we're gonna figure this out. I was looking at shit in Austin. I was like, no, we're not going.
That was like the first flight wasn't so bad to get. I would have been out in the afternoon on the first flight, and then they moved it to the evening, and so I thought, oh, that just means I have more time to pack, and then I get to take a nap. And then I woke up and I find that my flight is now moved to the next day, and I'm like, no, that can't happen.
Yeah,
too much.
Ugh.
So
flying is terrible right now.
Some time for some sauce talk comments before we wrap things up.
Yeah, let's jump to the sauce talk really fast so we don't bleed over into Steve Tembo.
Steve's not here. Steve's not here this week.
Oh, he's not?
No.
Ah, okay.
So we don't have to worry about running into Steve Tendo time. We just have to worry about like going too long. But yeah.
Okay.
What do you got? I hadn't really contributed to sauce talk this week, so I'm curious what you got.
Well, you're
real quick. Who the fuck won? LA Thieves won in COD. They beat FaZe Clan. And Rocket League tournament, Rocket League Championship Series is going on right now. It ends next weekend. So just we'll get to those more in depth going forward. But yeah, hit me with the sauce talk.
Alrighty, so for the first one, Papa John's introduces a new crustless pizza called Papa Bowls. Yeah, I know. I don't know if that's supposed to be like a play like Papa Bowl, like Papa Bowls, but
okay. So two things. I know why they're doing this, and I would never eat pizza without crust. They're doing this because their crust sucks.
Does it? You don't like it?
Papa John's. I
can't even remember if I've had it before.
It tastes like sawdust is just rubbed into it. It's
yeah,
and it's a lot of the time it's like so yeasty and like blown up that there's just air pockets.
Papa John's is one of the only pizzas that gives my spouse an allergic reaction because of the way they use their ingredients in the crust.
What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Papa John's is canceled for good this time. It's done.
I mean, look, Shaquille O'Neal is on the board of directors. You know, he has the Shaq-a-roni or whatever. Like, I don't want to completely say they're gone, but after the whole the Day of Reckoning is coming rant, and then now they're getting rid of crust on their pizza.
They're not winning the pizza war.
I haven't had Papa John's in years, so I don't know.
The selling part of your pizza crust is that I have to have a dip to put it in. Then your pizza crust is just garbage.
Yeah. Sorry.
There's
it
too much
says falling
competition
on-
in Chicago for any of this nonsense. I can't. Just looking at this is just. I don't even know what to say.
It just doesn't even look like pizza. Like, what is
Yeah, it looks
this?
like-
It looks like there's
Well, see,
banana
originally I
peppers in
thought it was
there.
like-
Looks like a shitty casserole.
Yeah, that's what I thought they were kind of leaning into. But allegedly, it says following a successful test at a few select locations in Louisiana, Papa John's takes its first ever crustless pizza innovation worldwide. Now, it comes in 3 different fucked up flavors: Italian meats trio, chicken Alfredo, and then, of course, garden veggie. And I'm like, none of those sound good without crust.
No, the crust is terrible there. Like, there is no. This is like.
well, that too.
They're
that
not.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't get it. This is dumb.
I like what it says that they said they had a successful test at select locations in Louisiana last year.
Yeah, like, why don't they
Because,
ask
like-
people in the Midwest what we think?
Why
Yeah, you know,
Louisiana of all
middle.
places?
I'm just saying, go to Chicago and ask them what they think of this, and they're all going to just throw it
We
in the
already know
trash.
what they think of it because Papa John's is like one. There's like 5 probably in the state
Yeah, we
because no one's
do
buying
not.
that shit.
We have Papa's here, right? We have Papa John's all over Canton. But, like, I would get Domino's, Pizza Hut, and... I would get Domino's and Pizza Hut over Papa John's. I was almost about to say Little Caesars, but they're also trash. But at least it's priced right. Like, Little Caesars is, like, cheap. Like, you can get, like...
Little Caesars, you know what you're getting.
Yeah,
you know what you're getting
there. But Papa
These
John's...
are about $7, $7.99 per bowl, which I think is, these bowls aren't going to be very big at that. I mean, that was going to be with or without the crust.
A
That's
bowl?
like specialty chicken
Like
prices right there.
A bowl? Like a pizza bowl? That sounds wrong. Just
I'm just
that
looking
right
at
there.
like the. I guess
And
those are
think about how this
sausages
is going to
in
show
there.
up. Think about this being delivered. It's going to be all mushed up and like, ugh.
I'm just trying to
It's terrible.
understand like what you're eating in the bowl. Like it's just like a bowl full of sauce and then the ingredients, or
What, and
like
Yeah, like,
You know-
am I supposed to cut this into pieces? Am I eating it with a fork and knife? Like, what is the...
What is the grain in there? Do they have? There's no spaghetti. It's just the ingredients.
You know what's great about pizza is eating it with your fucking hands.
True.
You know what you need to do that? Crust.
I don't think that's happening here.
Like if there's pasta in there, that makes a little bit more sense. Like, but if you don't have like something like a spaghetti or like a noodle in there, you just throwing sauce and meatballs and
You would
pepperoni
eat
and
pizza with a fork, Greg, you Californian. You eat pizza with a fork. Get the fuck out of here. You can buy this then. This is for you, Greg. But regular Americans, we just eat pizzas by the slice usually. It's nice. You can fold it. What is this?
Yeah, this
Seriously,
this
get the fuck out of here,
a
Papa.
travesty.
Like they've really have lost their way since their racist owner left. Like
Outside of
John
hiring
Sch-
Shaq, there's been nothing positive out of that brand.
Well,
Yeah,
Shaq
that
thinks
was-
the Earth is flat, so I mean, there's just a whole bunch of stuff.
they
going
jumped the shark with Shaquille O'Neal there, but like Papa John probably knew something about pizza. You know, he used to work at Pizza Hut. He came over there. It does seem like without him, they don't know what the hell they're doing. They just throw Papa in front of something. They're like, oh, we'll call it a Papa Bowl. Wasn't there some other like calzone thing that they did?
no.
Maybe.
The P-Zone?
Wait, no,
That's
that's
what
pizza.
it was.
I,
Was it the
do like, I
P-Zone?
do like a good calzone, but I mean, I think I like anything.
Not
with
theirs.
the- Yeah,
Like
no,
they had to fuck it up,
But-
Denny. Like they're like,
but
it's
I think I'll
calzone,
take
but we-
anything over a bowl of pizza ingredients. They're just swimming in sauce.
yeah. Like also, what happens to the cheese? Is the cheese still on top? Is it on the bottom?
I mean, looking at this photo, it looks like they just like douse
Mixed
everything
it
in
in.
and then mix it and melt it. Like they just
Yeah,
throw it in
like the
microwave or something.
Italian meats trio. It looks like the meats are kind of on the exterior of the bowl. Like
It looks like
Yeah,
they just
what's
mix it
going
in
on
there
up
and
the
then
middle
put it
there?
in the microwave or something.
This
Then
is
put it
trash.
in.
so over under on how long until this gets completely canceled. I'm gonna give it less than a year.
I give it maybe 6 months, maybe
6 months. Yeah.
maybe 6 months.
Oh, yeah,
They should be
that
ashamed
story.
of themselves.
Yeah.
Let's switch over to the other story here because
Yeah, this
Yeah.
makes me angry. And
Well,
sick.
this next one actually looks good. Now, we reported on a KFC story before, and it was kind of but I like peanut sauce, okay? I'm just going to put that out there right now. KFC introduces a new saute crunch chicken with peanuts this time, y'all.
Okay, so
Listen,
this is over in Southeast Asia, and
yeah, it's in Singapore again.
they love their peanut sauces over there. So this makes a lot of sense.
Chicken
This
satay
looks
is also
good.
just delicious.
Yeah, a
That'll eat
crunchy
me.
one at that too. So it's gonna be like chicken on a stick, fried, a la carte for $5.89, part of a meal for $6.78. Not bad.
Yeah.
No, not at
Look,
all. I'm a
look,
fan.
and once again, we're coming back to this trend. Yum Brands knows how to take risks when they make weird shit. Like, you look at how Taco Bell operates, you look how KFC operates, how Pizza Hut operates. You wouldn't see pizza in a bowl from frickin' Pizza Hut. Like, this is a good idea. This is a regionally focused thing. It looks tasty, and yeah, like, it fits that region, you know? Like, I think this is smart. It'd
Yeah.
be cool.
I'm a
Yeah,
fan,
I
and
still-
I wish they brought some stuff like this over here. You know, I went to a McDonald's.
Well, they need actual chicken here to do that, Rod. It's
Yeah,
the
that's true.
Animal X, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're eating some strange Pokemon or some shit over here. Who's
I'm
that
telling you, man.
Pokemon?
That chicken at KFC, that's not chicken
I
in
can't remember the last
America.
time I've been in the KFC either. There's
If they
always
did
like
this-
it's always a Popeyes that's closer.
Yep.
If they did this in the in North America, like I love chicken satay and I love peanut sauce already. I would actually like probably go to KFC after
Yeah,
this.
this I think could get people to go to KFC because it's
Yeah.
actually different enough. Now, Denny, I know you just said there's a Popeyes closer to you than there's a KFC. It's not the case here. It's tragic. We've talked about this on the show before, but there's no Popeyes chicken in Canton, Ohio. It's kind of fucked up.
That's you're suffering there.
I
Yeah.
don't understand how I have fucking 8 Dunkin' Donuts in Canton, and we can't get one Popeyes.
See,
Yeah.
Now we're down to
KFC
one Denny's.
KFC
You live in
nowadays here is like it has to be tied to an A&W or something. It's not standalone.
Mhm.
You got some root
No,
beer spot.
we have several standalone KFCs in Canton, and they're all terrible. One of them's like brand new too. They tore down. They bought the lot next to them, and they tore down the old one and built a new one. I was like, what the point? What was the point of that? Look, I'm not okay. Look, Little Caesars. At least they're aware, Rod. At least
I
they're
mean, the thing
aware.
is that if you spend more than the $5, Little Caesars isn't bad. Like
Yeah.
if you get like
They got good bread
the,
too. I've had
the
some of
most
their bread.
asbestos pepperoni
Oh
or
yeah, the
whatever.
crazy bread. Crazy
Yeah,
bread's
like-
not bad.
Like you just have to spend more than the bare minimum.
Like out of everything at Papa John's, their cheese sticks are one of their better things, and that's just literally cheese pizza without marinara sauce, cut in different portions. No,
Yeah.
I'm not slandering Little Caesars. Little Caesars was there for me in Ann Arbor, Michigan when I needed them. We also had Hungry Howie's though. Have you guys ever fucked with Hungry Howie's?
No.
I've
I've
What-
only heard of that in passing. I've not actually seen one before.
Hungry Howie's is bad, man. That was like, I think you could get 4 large pizzas for like $12 back in the day. It was
I
like
can
on
only
a
imagine
Tuesday.
what those ingredients
Holy
are.
fuck.
I don't.
Native.
I don't like a restaurant that serves pizzas that I could actually get a better pizza at a grocery store frozen section for.
Yeah, that
Bro.
sounds really sketchy.
Well, sorry, Mr. Park Avenue. Some of us were trying to buy 4 days worth of pizza for $12.
Because Hungry
Yeah.
Howie's Pizza is a franchise in the 11th largest pizza chain in the United States with over 550 locations. Hungry Howie's products include pizza, calzone-style subs, chicken wings and tenders, bread, salads, and brownies. That's a lot for them to focus on. Maybe if they just focused on the pizza,
What?
it'd be
What?
better? No?
I mean, what states are these running in? Because I have not seen one of these.
This is in Michigan, so I mean Michigan's not that far from Illinois, but at the same time, it is. We have Indiana separating us.
You guys are both very far from me. I'm all the way here in the middle of Nebraska.
Oh, you're back. I can never. Yeah, this is Nebraska because I see the rod head above your bed back there. But yeah, like you're either in Jersey or Nebraska. But yeah, you're in Nebraska right now. Yeah, I mean, whose fault is that, Rod?
Mine, it's just, for now, it's because of commentary. I only want to keep commentating for so much longer in Smash. So I'm going to go to a different game. And so if I do that, I can actually stay in Nebraska more. I'm only in Jersey to go to tournaments on the East.
Is this breaking news? Are we breaking news?
Maybe. I mean, it could. You know, we've talked about it a lot. Like just doing other games in general, better paying games. You know, if they pay better, I don't have to go anywhere. I can just leave from here, but I have to spend money out the month to live in Jersey so I can do Smash tournaments. And they're just starting to run their course. You know.
It really feels like Ultimate has.
Yeah.
And Melee's going to come and go, and you're not really a Melee commentator.
I've done it a couple times. I appreciate it, but
it's
my
different.
characters suck in Melee. You know, Link is booty.
Dude, every character sucks in Melee. There's only 2 or 3 that are worth playing at.
That's true. Very true.
It's like you're either a Fox main, a Puff main, or then like there's the occasional Captain Falcon that shows up and a Marth occasionally. That's it.
That's true.
Did I miss anything? Oh yeah, sorry. Armada was rocking shit with Peach at one point.
Yeah, there's also a little Peach in there too. I don't know.
5 characters. The meta has boiled down to 5 characters. That's kind of how I felt about MK11. I was like, okay, like we really have the matchups are known. You know, like it felt like a game that's kind of gone through everything and it's like done. That felt like the last MK11 tournament we'll see. And it's not that I dislike Mortal Kombat. I just think 11 needs to go.
The company itself has just not done anything with it. It's just what it is. I mean,
NetherRealm needs to do something. Like just poke them with the stick.
When they go down, like it's always been a
office.
thing. Like between games, when there's like downtime, like they disappear. They go radio silent. They go from like doing streams every other week and having a community manager showing up, and they're doing like local events. They're going to Galp and Ghost Arcade downtown. You know, they're popping up everywhere of like week to week Mortal Kombat sessions. And as soon as that production time is done, like where are they? Like you don't see anyone from the team. Like there's nothing else named off. It's just really strange. Now I do think that we're going to be probably getting some news soon. But I mean, at the end of the day, like I think that the community itself is trained to like understand like when they stop pushing out content and there's nothing else coming for it, then they also still kind of like they're basically only keeping it alive themselves or moving on to other games.
Well,
it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way, but it just ends up being that way every time.
So, are we going to get a Mortal Kombat character in Multiversus before we get an MK12 announcement?
I'm pretty sure we are, because the whole idea behind Multiversus came from the Ultra Instinct Shaggy meme, and then they put it in the film where he's grabbing Scorpion through like another dimension. So I'm like, there's just no way at this point he's not. Scorpion, Sub-Zero, somebody's coming.
Oh,
I prefer Johnny Cage, because I like to punch people in the nuts.
Sure.
Everyone's talking about MK12, but I feel like NetherRealm is working on
Justice 3.
I think they're working on 2 different titles. Like I think that there was one they were working on when they were still doing MK11, and then there's whatever MK project that they're probably.
Scorpion would also be a good character for Multiverses because he has the built-in with the spear. He's got a mechanic where he can tether onto somebody and yank them towards him.
He's got the spear and the sword. You know, fire, flaming skull, different things there.
He might even have a teleport mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just
that could be cool.
I don't
kind of like Bugs with his hole.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I love Scorpion. I'd love to see Scorpion in Multiverses, but I'd also just
I love Scorpion until I'm playing against him, and
I'm not playing Multiverses every day like I was a few weeks ago. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, starting to wear on you a little bit.
It's very floaty. And it's just, I don't know. I guess based on the tournament, Shaggy isn't really the best character, huh? I saw some Shaggy and Velma matchups, like teammates, but really felt like most people in the pro scene who would main Shaggy are playing as Bugs. Maybe after the Bugs nerf, we'll see people switch over back to Shaggy.
I was happy to see my trash character Rain Dog show up in high level competition.
Dude, that is the Jar Jar Binks.
I did think of you when I saw him going around zapping people.
I stand by that character. I stand by what Rain Dog can do. I believe in Rain Dog.
I don't. I still don't. I don't understand why that character exists.
But after watching the finish at Multiverses, I want to put time into Tom and Jerry because those characters seem like the perfect blend of both Duck Hunt and Ice Climber mechanics.
I was gonna say, I get Game & Watch vibes from Tom and Jerry a little, because just the frying pan mechanics that Tom has, Yeah, I don't know. Is Void like the only? Void's like the only player who's manning Tom and Jerry right now. Like,
At that level, yeah.
yeah,
I think
I
I've seen
hadn't
a
seen
couple
anyone.
more in like the H box events, but like at that level of play, it's definitely Void.
Yeah, I think HBox is doing another $2,000 multiverse tournament this week for a coin box or something.
Yeah, I think he is. He's fiending too. I want to see him come over. I know I said it a few installments ago, but I'm like, HBox, I mean, you're always talking about Smash and what it
He
doesn't
tweeted
matter.
about it.
Come on over, man. The water's
He tweeted like a PayPal receipt for multiverses. I guess a lot of people are getting. I don't know what the payout was, but a lot of people got like $1,000. I don't know
It
what
was good
place.
money from like the
Yeah.
top like 20 or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
I
you can
think,
pay for your trip there.
let me look up Louis Money and see how much he got. Because he tweeted,
Yeah.
I think, he got about 1,000 or 1,500 bucks or something too.
But yeah, shout out to the Cat and Void though. They did their thing, and it was just it felt like old guard versus new guard a little bit. I know the game is new, but those guys are established veterans, and they carried themselves like that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just having watched Nakat kind of struggle with Ultimate the past year, it was great to see him take home like an actual championship. He's an EVO champion. No one can take that away from him.
You know,
And
sometimes there's that kind of moment. He might not be right for the right moment, the right game at that time, and then you end up dominating a completely different situation.
Well, you know, he's a Sora main in Ultimate, and Sora is like the floatiest character in that game outside of Kirby. So I wasn't that surprised to see him take the multiverses the way he has, but that was awesome. Like that was next level, just fun.
You know,
it was fun to watch.
Despite
Louis
WB
Money
and
said
HBO and all that stuff going on, there's still opportunity for hopefully multiverses to make some kind of splash on both the game side and the TV side, depending.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
and for content creation too.
Point. Louis Money got 1,000 for getting 17.
Yeah, that's what I saw. A lot of people that didn't make top 8 were still getting like a K, like $1,000.
Yeah, it was still a solid payout.
If you're at a freaking Smash tournament and you're 17th, you're lucky to get like $5, $25.
Or anything, really.
Or anything. Yeah. It's usually top 8, top 16 that get paid out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you know, well, we got SmashCon to look forward to, Rod. I saw you're going to be commentating.
Yeah.
Along with like the entire roster of Ultimate, I guess.
As always. I know.
It's like 50 people there.
I think I'm commentating. I'm also hosting. They're doing an awards ceremony. They do what's called Smashy, so I'm supposed to do that alongside.
You're hosting the Smashies?
Yeah, myself and Coney. So we're gonna. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we're gonna figure something out for that. We're gonna have some fun.
No, that'll be fun, man. I like seeing you on stage at those events.
Yeah,
do you know, like, are they going to be playing like 64 at all, or? I know
they should involve them. They
I know sometimes there's that like champions run or whatever. There's like that one. It's like a random. I don't know how they do it every year, but like one year I saw it where it was a different Smash game every round of the tournament.
Mm-hmm. It's called Smash Masters or something.
Yeah, Smash Masters. If they're doing that, I love watching that because it's like that's a true test to me. That's like kind of like some of the Shacknews tournaments we've done in the past with the World Championship of 2018 and stuff. I love gauntlet style esports tournaments.
Yeah, Music King would do well in the first 3. I mean, just with 64 because they've had to change rules because of him, and then Brawl, and then if they throw Project M in there, I'm like, you know, I don't know, you know. I don't know too many guys who are good at multiple games. He's good at least 4 of the 6 that are played. So,
yeah. Well, we have something to look forward to for the next weekend.
That's right.
Before we go, we have our own little Shacknews esport of sorts called.
And it looks a little different today.
I mean, it does and it doesn't. Okay, so on the it does side of things. Today or yesterday, but declared today, our own Rumpo, Bill Lavoie, won Shacknews for the day, August 7th, 2022. So shout out to Rumpo. Conversely, 8 Mikey won for the week of July 31st. I was in second place. 8 Mikey put up 228,465 points. I put up 139,120 points. Yeah, this dude's just a monster. I don't know what we're gonna do about him. There may be some balance patches coming to Cortex.
Oh,
I'm watching it kind of play out. Also, shout out to Dog Nose, one of our mods. He won Chatty for the week with
Nice.
9,719 points. So shout out to Dog Nose. I doubt he even knows he won. Awesome to see someone who isn't Mad Dog on the top of that, because we just like to see some competition. And in the past few weeks, we have seen a little bit of that in Cortex. But yeah, if you want to compete, all you have to do is have a Shacknews account and either read articles, add RSS feeds to our Shacknews reader platform, post to the chatty, tag things in chatty. You can lol tag things. You can even get points for reading Shacknews articles. I know that's a tall order, but for instance, Rumpo, who won yesterday, he had 345 article points this week.
Rumpo.
Yeah. Axeman 808, 2,030 article points last week. So you can actually get points just from literally reading news on our website or guide content. On top of that, you get points for winning Shacknews, so there's that. And then, of course, we talked about earlier, Shack Pets. If you win Shack Pets, if you vote in Shack Pets, if you challenge in Shack Pets, if you upload a photo in Shack Pets, you get points. And that's what it boils down to. Hey, Mikey is a force to be reckoned with, though. Should I try? Should I try to beat him?
I say you should just try it once.
It could be interesting. You can, shoot a Netflix documentary if you pull it off.
Start training my thumb. I'm like, I did it. I finally did it. I'm swiped. Because I'm trying to figure out how much he swipes. And it's got to be thousands of times a week. And I'm just like, how?
We need that 30 for 30 story.
Hey, Mikey versus Awesome, the man with the briefcase. Here's the problem. Even if I started competing with him now, he's gonna take the year. The dude I have 8.1 million Shack points, right? This dude has 22.7 million already. There's no catching him. There's no way. And at one point, he wrote a bot that would read articles. He went ham with how he was farming points. What I thought was interesting about this, and it may be lost on some of the people watching this at home. He was obsessed with Cortex before Shack Pets launched. Before. You could Tilted, I'd love to see you try to bot the Shack Pets element of Cortex. But yeah, the reading part can be botted. We had a user called Cortex Eater last year that appeared, tried to eat the Cortex, and failed. But yeah, I don't know. I should wait till the beginning of a month and be like, okay, this is the month. I'm going to just try to beat him for the month. Or maybe it's one of these things where I wait till next year. Because he's going to win this year. There's no question. He's just so far ahead. I don't even know. Unless I
if you were to campaign for Lola, maybe get some extra.
That's what I'm saying. Denny, because Denny will ask me for promo pictures. He's like, hey, send me some Lola pictures. I dump 20 in his DM. So I have a lot I've been holding back. TJ, you mentioned you've been holding back pictures of Flap looking sad. I have 7 years of Lola pictures that I've just been kind of dripping, drip onto the platform. But at some point, if I want to compete, I can. And I'm just getting kind of tired of this guy winning all the time. But I also it's this weird thing because I also appreciate that he's winning all the time. It's a tough back and forth.
I'm watching Rogue One, and he's slowly trying to come back from take over the Empire right now. Someone's dominating.
It's time, dude.
I mean, yeah, it seems like it is. And then the other problem is my brother's been pretty active on the app too, so. I think if we combined our forces under one account, we would probably do better than where he has Foofer McFooferton, which is one of Lola's many nicknames, and then I have Lola. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how the rest of the year plays out on Cortex. Because like I said, we initially had planned to have another thing come out this year for it, like another way to gain points. But that's not going to happen. So now we're gonna have to watch. I think there's a balance patch that could come.
Uh-oh.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it here first.
Yeah. I won't give too many hints as to what, but I am looking at how points are generated on the platform and trying to think of how we can incentivize some things that may not be done as frequently as we'd like. That's basically what a lot of these things have done. Try to value the more difficult things on the platform. So one area would be posting articles. I think the effort that goes into posting an article on Cortex probably is worth more than 500 points. So we'll see. Especially because of the inflation that's happened due to Shack Pets being introduced to the platform, it kind of devalued some other stuff. So now that we've had, we're going to be approaching a year in November. Once we have a year of looking at how the gamification engine works, find a way to tie in Twitch subs. Man, that'd be great. If we could do like an extension for Cortex or something. Yeah, there's a lot of experiments that I think... when we shipped Cortex, I think I just was like, okay, on to the next thing. But there's like a lot that I left on the table there. So maybe when I'm done with everything I have planned over at Shack Pets, I'll go back to Cortex to fix it up a little bit. But yeah, use it, or else I won't do any of that.
Good point.
It's not a threat. It's got other stuff to do. But yeah, it's free. All these things are free. You can download Shack Pets on iOS and Android. You can create a shacknews.com account for free. You can upload an infinite amount of photos on both platforms for free. People forget that you can upload images to Cortex and it can be a microblog kind of style post. Mm-hmm. Everyone thinks they're like Cortex has to be some sort of like anthology or some sort of treatise. And it's like, no, this can be a microblogging site. There is no character limitation to a Cortex post. Like, if you just have a picture of some tacos, I know Mad Dog does that from time to time on Tuesday. You can just post some tacos.
Meanwhile, I did like a whole breakdown of every single character in Guilty Gear at one point, and I think it was like the longest thing I've ever written for Shacknews.
You also did a breakdown of every Guile song most recently.
Yeah, I saw that one. Speaking of Guilty Gear characters, because we're going to wrap things up here, but I did want to, so we have TJ on the show, I did want to ask you, in a quick, less than 60 seconds, what did you think of the Guilty Gear Strive Bridget announcement since they dropped off a trailer at the show?
Bridget is one of the most interesting characters in all of Guilty Gear. Not only out of gameplay mechanics, but out of the character itself. Bridget, canonically in lore, was raised to be a girl because they come from a village where they were a twin. They were a twin of somebody else, and and there's a superstition that twins would bring bad luck. So they were raised as a girl to protect them, and then they became a bounty hunter that uses yo-yos. And so, like, Bridget is a very strange character in a lot of ways, but like their biggest thing is that, like, I guess they're going to the fact that Bridget is canonically trans now, which is something they've done at this point with Testament, and but for Bridget it kind of ties well into the story of the character. But beyond that, the yo-yo mechanic that Bridget has is very interesting. Basically, They have these yo-yos, they send them out, and they sit on the screen until Bridget either uses an attack to call them back, or uses a special attack to go towards them. And so it creates a very interesting set play mechanic that I think will actually be very cool in Strive with the wall break mechanic. Like, I really liked Bridget in Guilty Gear X2, and I'm really interested to see how that changes in Guilty Gear Strive. Because there have been characters that just completely were broken down and rebuilt, like Biken, where like they don't play the same at all, but they play in a very interesting way that they didn't before. Bridget looks very intact and even looks like they will actually succeed even better with Strive's mechanics.
Sounds good. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Maybe we'll do or character showcase or something when she drops. Well, she's out now, so.
I am going to be doing a stream like I have been of Bridget gameplay as soon as I can.
And they're out today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a patch that dropped today, and they are out today. That's awesome. That was a cool announcement. I like the lore behind the character too. That's cool. Also, yo-yos are just cool.
Yeah,
I'm in.
Yes.
Once again,
yes.
I'm never gonna play this game because I suck, but I just like watching it. It's like visually just stunning and cool.
It's
and
good stuff.
that wall break mechanic is fun. It's hype. Like when the live crowd around, like it seemed like people got really excited every time that happened. It's just a very like. It's similar to how I enjoyed Fighters when it was popping off a few years ago at EVO. Like I think Arc does a great job of presentation in their games, and it leads to just an enjoyable spectator mode or spectator life for me.
And Ark is out here, putting rollback in games that aren't even theirs.
Bless them. This is just beautiful.
it's a good time right now for the fighting game community.
I always want to say this because I say this every week. If Nintendo had a brain, which they don't, they would release an HD remaster of Melee with rollback netcode.
It would shut the world down. It would literally crash Twitter like Minecraft Steve did. It would shut everything down.
Like that's all they gotta do. There's 109 million Switches in the world right now. Like, what percent would buy that freaking game? A lot.
No.
So yeah, please, Nintendo, please understand. They won't. But yeah, like I love seeing rollback put into these things. I love seeing crossplay being like put into games or being built into them going forward.
All the things that people ask for is finally happening on a consistent basis for games. I mean, sure, they might be 4 or 5 years old or on their way out and stuff like that. But this is something that they're testing on these titles so that the next game coming out will be able to influence that at launch or day one.
Yeah, and I think it's undeniable for these cross-platform games. It builds the community because not everyone's going to buy every system, but friends want to play with friends, and that's where Multiverse got it right. And that's where I think Guilty Gear has been doing the right thing on that front. I'm interested in how Fighters implements it because Fighters is on Switch, and we'll see how that works because it doesn't run that great on Switch compared to the other platforms.
No, I was going to say the Switch version is a much it's not a much different experience, but it's different enough though.
Yeah,
it's noticeable.
Yeah, I wonder if that's going to be like crossplay with an asterisk that just says not Switch yet. Yeah. We'll see if how that plays out with these multi-platform games. But yeah, if Nintendo had a brain, which they don't, we'd have a Melee remake with rollback netcode. Or you just hire Slippy. You hire
someone if you're not going to do the work yourself.
Yeah, there's one guy who modded rollback into Melee. Maybe it was 2, but still, like the community can do it. You can do it, Nintendo, and I guess they won't do it until it starts hurting them financially. And I don't think they're not going to look at Ultimate like that, right? Ultimate was a huge financial success. Maybe they won't. But
yeah,
I'm just saying.
If
you want to melt down the internet, that's how you do it.
Well, I think we had a pretty awesome episode post EVO.
Hell yeah! Thank you, TJ, for all the awesome coverage at EVO and for waking up in time to join us here.
Yes.
Sorry for being so fashionably late.
No, that's all good.
You made it to Guilty Gear finals. I mean, you deserve all the sleep you can get.
Did you go like from the final straight to the airport?
It ended at like 1:30. And then I had my flight was at 5 a.m. And so I got back to my hotel room at about 2 o'clock, and I'm like, there's not even a point in trying to lay down and close my eyes.
No. Did you gamble at all?
I of course did, and I lost it all.
Did you gamble on EVO matches?
I did not.
I love those degenerates that just run around the floor of EVO trying to get $20 on a game.
Yeah, I got 5 on Daigo. I got 20 on Daigo. Yeah. Or in Smash, they do like odds or evens, like what percent does
Yep.
it end on? And I'm like, this is
I saw-
That's what I mean, Rod. Straight up degenerates out there at EVO. I think that's this next level that takes esports to sports level. Is
Oh,
like
yeah.
when FanDuel has odds on Guilty Gear brackets. That's when things get really weird. But
Yeah.
you're in Vegas, so I was like, why not? You know?
Yeah, I knew, I give myself a hard limit on how much I'm going to spend on gambling when I go to Vegas for safety's sake. So
Smart.
I lost my money and I walked away and I focused on other things.
Were you staying at Mandalay Bay?
I was at Luxor, which has a sky bridge to Mandalay.
Oh, geez.
Nice.
Luxor is oof.
That's a bit of a hike for you, though. Like, if you don't take the sky bridge and you just walk the whole thing, it's you get your steps in at EVO. If nothing else, you're going to do some walking.
Yeah.
I stayed at Luxor for CES one year, and it was a really cheap room. And I was like,
Oh, yeah.
suspiciously cheap. And it was because I was right above their frickin' nightclub. And it was just thumping bass every night. And I had like appointments at 8 a.m. I was just like, okay, never.
I've never had an issue with Luxor. I think it's the most mid of every place I've been in Vegas.
No, the rooms are fine. It was just I was
Yeah.
above the freaking nightclub.
Yeah.
I think it was that was part of the reason. And that club may be dead by now because it's Las Vegas and clubs like come and go all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, well, we're happy you got home in one piece, TJ, and congratulations on making it out of the King of Fighters pool. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And then next year, go back, take the whole Guilty Gear title.
I have a personal goal for next year, thinking about how I came out of this one. I lost to a pro, and I feel like when I come up against a known quantity in any game, I psych myself out a little bit, because like they're a pro, they're a top 8 in this game. Of course, I'm supposed to lose to them, and I want to break that mindset next year. I want to come up against a pro, and I want to. My new personal goal for fighting game competition, I want to pull off an upset.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, that's how you gotta do it.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone who tuned in. Shout out to Slime Hunter and Tilted, and I think I saw Squires in there for a hot second. Greg was in chat. Thanks everyone for tuning in. This will be on YouTube here in a little bit at youtube.com/ShackNewsGames. And I think that'll have to do. Seems like we'll have a lot to talk about next week, Rod, with Super Smash Con and RLCS Championship. Yeah, we're going to be talking Rockets. I'll have to come back for next week. Because I'll be talking about Rockets and Smash, which are two of my favorite things.
Well, you're always welcome on here, Austin. I mean, you only, created the show and own the place, and make everybody look cool and pay everybody like Tony Stark. So I mean, you're only in charge. So.
I'm like Tony Stark, but I'm not dead. Spoilers.
Yeah, not.
Well, that part's important.
Also, all right, friends, that's going to conclude another jam-packed installment here. Why Work Electronic Sports, episode 144. 145 will be live in full effect next week. Until then, peace. We'll see everybody.
Bye.